The rift between universes screamed with violent light as Son Goku tumbled through dimensional barriers that were never meant to break. One moment he'd been training with Whis in the void between realities, perfecting instant transmission across impossible distances. The next, a distortion, something ancient and wrong, had caught his technique mid-jump and shredded the fabric of space itself. The Saiyan warrior crashed through layers of existence like a meteor punching through atmosphere, his orange jury blazing with residual ki as he plummeted toward an unfamiliar Earth. Metropolis gleamed beneath afternoon sun, its crystalline towers reaching skyward in defiant optimism. Citizens walked streets believing themselves safe under the protection of their greatest hero. They didn't know that high above them, in the cold vacuum between Earth and Moon, Brainiac's skull ship descended with mechanical precision. The Coloan intelligence had calculated this Earth's defenses, factored Superman's speed and strength, prepared containment fields calibrated to Kryptonian biology. It had accounted for every variable except the one that didn't belong to this universe at all. Goku hit Metropolis airspace doing Mach 20, his aura trailing fire that had nothing to do with friction and everything to do with Kai burning itself stable in a reality that didn't quite recognize what Ki was. He'd managed to arrest his fall, barely, pulling up 100 feet above the Daily Planet building just as Brainiac's tractor beam lanced down to seize Metropolis City Hall. The concentrated energy meant to lift entire city blocks into the skull ship's collection chambers struck Goku's dispersing Kai field instead. The collision lit the sky like a second sun. Superman had been in the middle of evacuating civilians from Brainiac's previous target zone when the explosion drew his attention skyward. Through the smoke and blazing light, his enhanced vision caught something impossible. A humanoid figure, black-haired and compact, floating in midair with no visible means of propulsion. Not Kryptonian physiology, not metahuman signature, not magical aura. Something else entirely, radiating power that made Clark Kent's instinct scream threat and opportunity in equal measure. "Whoa," Goku muttered, shaking his head to clear the dimensional displacement fog. His hand went to his forehead on pure instinct, seeking familiar key signatures to lock onto for instant transmission. Nothing. The technique that had been second nature for years suddenly felt like trying to grab smoke. Every energy signature in this place registered wrong. Too fast, too emotional, too divine, too technological. Where was Vegeta's irritated flame? Gohan's scholarly restraint? Even Piccolo's measured discipline? Instead, he felt something vast and bright approaching at speeds that would have impressed even Whis. Superman stopped 10 feet away, cape settling around his shoulders as he hovered with perfect control. Red and blue uniform, symbol of hope emblazoned across his chest, jaw set in that particular expression Clark wore when trying to determine if he was facing friend or threat. The Man of Steel's eyes glowed faintly with heat vision held in check. Ready but not unleashed. "I don't know who you are," Superman said, voice carrying the authority of Earth's greatest protector. "But you just disrupted a Brainiac abduction beam. That makes you either very lucky or very powerful." His gaze tracked the rapidly approaching skull ship. "Given what's coming, I'm hoping it's the latter." Goku grinned, the expression lighting his scarred face with pure warrior's joy. This guy felt strong, really strong, like fighting King Kai, or even some of the gods of destruction. The kind of strength you could test yourself against and maybe, just maybe, find your limits. "Name's Goku, and I'm kinda lost. This isn't my Earth." He rolled his shoulders, feeling ki settle into patterns this universe's physics would allow. "But if there's a fight happening, I'm happy to help." "Your Earth?" Superman's eyes narrowed slightly. "Multiverse traveler?" He dealt with enough crisis events and dark multiverse incursions to recognize the signs. Before Goku could answer, Brainiac's ship opened fire. A dozen targeting lasers painted both warriors from above. Analysis: Kryptonian signature confirmed. Unknown energy signature detected. Classification impossible. Adapting capture protocols. Brainiac's cold voice echoed across Metropolis. "Both specimens will be acquired." Superman moved with speed that blurred even to Goku's experienced eyes. Not quite instant transmission fast, but close enough to be impressive. The Kryptonian angled his body to intercept the beams meant for the surrounding city, letting them splash against invulnerable skin while heat vision carved through three targeting satellites in precise strikes. Goku didn't overthink it. His body moved on instinct honed through decades of combat, Kai flaring white-blue around his form as he launched himself at the skull ship. The yellow sun overhead felt different than his Earth star, richer somehow, flooding his cyan cells with energy that mixed with ki in unexpected ways. He'd sort out the science later. Right now there was a bad guy who needed stopping and someone strong to fight beside. His fist connected with Brainiac's hull at a velocity that created a sonic boom heard in Gotham City 300 miles away. The skull ship's force fields, rated to withstand nuclear strikes, shattered like glass. Alien metal crumpled under knuckles that had traded blows with gods and demons across a dozen universes. Goku punched clean through the outer hull, through three interior decks, and emerged on the far side trailing sparking circuitry. From the watchtower's sensors, Batman watched with narrowed eyes as an unknown combatant just demonstrated strength comparable to Superman's maximum output. In a bunker beneath Wayne Manor, contingency protocols began updating themselves. In the skull ship's core, Brainiac recalculated threat assessments and found his carefully constructed invasion plan suddenly, catastrophically inadequate. In Metropolis below, Lois Lane started recording on her phone, journalist instincts recognizing history being made. And high above it all, Superman and Goku locked eyes across the smoking wreckage of Brainiac's ship, two warriors from different realities sharing the same thought. This is going to be interesting. If you want to see more characters enter different universes, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character and the universe you'd want to see them in down in the comments below. Hope shines brightest in the darkest night. The skull ship began its emergency retreat protocols, dimensional engines spooling up for escape. But Goku was already moving again, and Superman matched his trajectory perfectly. For the first time in years, Clark Kent wasn't the strongest person in Metropolis airspace. The question was whether that would be a blessing or a curse. The skull ship never made its dimensional jump. Goku's Kamehameha, a technique he'd perfected across 30 years of combat, struck Brainiac's engines with the force of a collapsing star. Blue-white Ki energy, foreign to this universe but no less devastating for it, cascaded through alien circuitry designed to withstand everything except an attack fueled by life force itself. The engines imploded, the ship listed, and Superman, moving with the precision of someone who'd saved falling aircraft 1,000 times, caught 3,000 tons of Kaluan technology before it could pancake downtown Metropolis. Goku landed on a rooftop beside him as Superman eased the wreckage into an empty lot, muscles straining under weight that would have crushed mountains. The Saiyan watched with open admiration as the Kryptonian set the ship down with barely a tremor, then melted the dimensional drive cores with careful heat vision to prevent Brainiac's escape or reconstruction. "You're really strong," Goku said, and meant it as the highest compliment. "That ship had to weigh, what, couple thousand tons? And you just caught it like it was nothing." Superman straightened, dusting metallic debris from his cape. Up close, he could see details his vision had missed during the fight. The stranger's orange GI was torn in places, revealing old scars that spoke of battles survived. His hair defied gravity in a way that suggested either styling product or something more fundamental. And his eyes held an innocence Superman rarely saw in beings this powerful. No calculation, no hidden agenda, just genuine enthusiasm for a good fight. "It's what I do," Clark replied carefully. "I'm Superman. And you still haven't explained how you got here, Goku." The name felt foreign on his tongue, syllables from somewhere decidedly not Kansas. "Or what you are. My vision shows human physiology, but no human hits that hard. Scion, actually." Goku scratched his head, grinning sheepishly. "It's a long story. Short version, I was training between dimensions with my teacher when something went wrong. Technique I was practicing kinda broke. Next thing I know, I'm falling through your sky." He looked around Metropolis with clear wonder. "Your Earth's different. I can feel it. The energy here moves weird. Faster in some places, older in others. like it's alive. Superman's expression shifted slightly. The reference to energy moving, to sensing things beyond normal perception, reminded him uncomfortably of magical practitioners. Dr. Fate, Satana, Constantine, beings who operated on rules that bypassed Kryptonian invulnerability. You can sense energy? Like magic? Not magic exactly. Kai, life force. Goku held up one hand, and a small sphere of blue light materialized above his palm. The energy crackled with barely contained power, casting dancing shadows across Superman's face. Everyone has it where I'm from. Most people just don't know how to use it. I've spent my whole life learning to control mine, get stronger, push past my limits. The sphere vanished. But here it's harder, like swimming in heavier water. I can still do it, but everything takes more effort. Before Superman could respond, his comm link crackled to life. Batman's voice, flat and controlled in the way that meant he was already 3 steps ahead of everyone else. Superman, status report. Who is your new friend? And why did he just demonstrate enough destructive capacity to level a city? Clark touched his earpiece. Brainiac's neutralized. The newcomer helped. Says he's from another Earth. Dimensional accident during training. He glanced at Goku, who was now examining the skull ship wreckage with curious fingers, poking damaged circuits like a child investigating a broken toy. He seems friendly. Friendly? Batman's skepticism could have etched glass. A being with Superman-level strength appears from nowhere during an alien invasion, and you're going with friendly? I'm watching the satellite footage now. He punched through Brainiac's shields like they were tissue paper. Those shields have withstood direct hits from apocalypse war machines. I noticed, Superman said quietly. Through the comm, he could hear rapid keystrokes. Batman already running analysis, building threat assessments, preparing contingencies. But Bruce, I don't think he's hostile. There's something about him. He reminds me of you? Wonder Woman's voice joined the channel, warmth cutting through Batman's ice. I saw the battle from Themyscira's watchtowers, Clark. The warrior fights with joy, not malice. There's honor in his movements. A pause. But honor without wisdom can still endanger the innocent. Bring him to the watchtower. The League should meet this scion properly. Goku had found Brainiac's central processor core and was tapping it experimentally. The Coloan intelligence, reduced to backup systems, attempted one last gambit. Neural interface tendrils shot out, seeking to pierce skull and upload consciousness. Goku caught them mid-strike without looking, crushed them in one fist, and ripped the entire core assembly free from its housing. Sparks rained down as Brainiac's final screams echoed through dying circuits. Huh, Goku said, holding the now inert sphere of alien technology. Where I'm from, the bad guys usually get at least one dramatic speech before they're done. This one just stopped. Superman floated down beside him. Brainiac's an artificial intelligence, 12th level intellect. He's probably just retreated to a backup body somewhere in the galaxy. He held out his hand for the core. We'll store this in the watchtower. Make sure he can't use it to rebuild. Watchtower? Goku handed over the sphere easily. No possessiveness or suspicion, just simple trust. That sounds cool. Is that where you and your friends hang out? Something like that. Superman studied the Saiyan warrior, trying to reconcile raw power with childlike curiosity. Every instinct honed by years of heroism said this being wasn't a threat. But those same instincts had been wrong before. Darkseid had seemed negotiable once. Doomsday had appeared containable. Even he himself had become a tyrant in at least one timeline, turning Metropolis into a gilded cage. Power without accountability led to injustice. Listen, Goku, Clark said carefully. I believe you're not here to cause trouble, but you just demonstrated abilities that make you one of the most powerful beings on this planet, maybe in this universe. My team, the Justice League, we protect Earth from threats. We also make sure powerful individuals don't lose control or get controlled by others. He met Goku's eyes directly. Would you be willing to come with me? Answer some questions? Let us help you figure out how to get home? Goku's face lit up. Your team? You mean there's more people as strong as you? The excitement in his voice was genuine. almost infectious. That's amazing. On my Earth, finding someone who can really push me is rare. Most fights are over too fast. He cracked his knuckles. Yeah, I'll come meet your friends. Maybe one of them knows about dimensional stuff. And hey, the grin turned slightly sheepish. I'm actually pretty hungry. Fighting always works up an appetite. You guys got food at this watchtower place? Superman couldn't help but smile. We have a kitchen. Fair warning, though, you're going to meet Batman. He's going to ask a lot of questions. Batman? Goku tested the name. What's his deal? He's the most dangerous human alive, Superman said simply. No powers, just training, intelligence, and the absolute conviction that anyone with power will eventually abuse it. He has contingency plans to stop every member of the Justice League if we go rogue, including me. For the first time, Goku's expression turned serious. He's planning how to kill his own friends, just in case? The concept clearly disturbed him. That's kind of dark, isn't it? It's realistic, Superman replied, and his voice carried weight that spoke of hard lessons learned. This universe has seen gods fall to corruption, heroes become tyrants, and good intentions pave roads to hell. Batman doesn't trust power, especially not power like yours. Like mine. Goku looked down at his hands, still crackling with residual Kai. Where I'm from, strength is something you earn through training and protect through honor. Yeah, people go bad sometimes, but that's why you have friends, to pull you back when you lose your way. He met Superman's gaze. Your Batman sounds like he's carrying the world's weight alone. He is, Superman said. We all are in different ways. He lifted off the ground, hovering. Come on, let's get this over with before Bruce generates a full psychological profile from satellite footage alone. Goku pushed off the rooftop with casual Kai manipulation, matching Superman's altitude. Side by side, the Kryptonian and the Saiyan rose toward the watchtower's orbital coordinates, two warriors from different realities about to collide with Earth's greatest heroes. Below them, Metropolis began recovering from another saved day, citizens already telling stories of the orange-clothed stranger who'd fought beside Superman. In the Batcave, surveillance footage played on loop while Alfred Pennyworth brought fresh tea. On Themyscira, Wonder Woman sharpened her sword and considered what it meant when warriors fought with smiles. On Apocalypse, deep within his throne room, Darkseid's eyes flared red as his sensors registered an entirely new kind of power signature entering his monitored universe. And in the space between heartbeats, Goku wondered if these heroes would teach him something new, or if he just found himself in a universe too broken to save. The watchtower materialized around them as Superman guided Goku through the teleportation bay, a gleaming space station orbiting Earth with technology that made even Capsule Corp look primitive. Goku pressed his face against the observation window like a kid at an aquarium, watching his new Earth spin below in blues and greens. Wow, you guys built this? It's incredible. Mostly Wayne Enterprises and LexCorp technology, Superman explained, with Thanagarian metal composites and Martian biotechnology integration. It serves as our headquarters and early warning system. He placed a hand on Goku's shoulder, gently steering him away from the window. Come on, they're waiting in the conference room. The corridor thrummed with energy Goku could feel but not quite identify. Something faster than Kai, more emotional. Coursing through the station's walls like living lightning. His instincts kept trying to lock onto it for instant transmission, but the sensation slipped away like water through fingers. Frustrating. He'd need to train in this universe's energy signatures before his techniques worked properly again. The conference room doors slid open to reveal the Justice League in full assembly. Batman stood at the head of the table, cowl shadowing his eyes, arms crossed over the bat symbol. No smile, no welcome, just assessment. Wonder Woman sat to his right, golden armor gleaming, blue eyes measuring Goku with a warrior's directness. The Flash, Barry Allen, though Goku didn't know that yet, vibrated slightly in his seat, yellow lightning crackling around his frame. Green Lantern Hal Jordan leaned back with practiced casualness, power ring glowing softly. Aquaman's trident rested against the wall, the Atlantean King's presence carrying ocean depths. Cyborg's red eye tracked Goku's every movement, already running scans. And in the corner, translucent and telepathic, Martian Manhunter regarded the newcomer with ancient, knowing sadness. Whoa, Goku breathed. You're all really strong. I can feel it. Each of you's got something different. You, he pointed at Flash. You're vibrating so fast it's like you're in two places at once. And you, Wonder Woman, you feel like the gods I've met, divine energy, and the green guy in the corner. You're doing something with your mind, aren't you? John Johnson's mental voice touched everyone's thoughts simultaneously. He senses us, all of us, through mechanisms my telepathy cannot fully read. Fascinating. Sit down, Batman said flatly. It wasn't a request. Goku plopped into a chair with zero ceremony, immediately slouching in a way that would have horrified any diplomat. So Superman says you guys protect Earth. That's cool. I do the same thing back home. Well, I did, before I ended up here. He scratched his head. Any chance one of you knows how to punch through dimensional barriers? I kinda need to get back before Vegeta thinks I ditched training again. We'll address your departure after we address your arrival, Batman said, pulling up holographic displays. Footage of Goku's fight with Brainiac played in perfect detail. The punch through the hull, the Kamehameha that vaporized engines, the casual destruction of technology that had threatened Earth for years. You demonstrated Class 100 strength minimum, energy projection comparable to a tactical nuclear strike, and flight without visible propulsion. You punched through force fields rated for planetary bombardment. The cowled detective leaned forward. What exactly are you? I'm Goku, the Saiyan replied cheerfully. Already told Superman, I'm a Saiyan from Earth. Different Earth, I guess. We're a warrior race. Love fighting, get stronger every time we almost die, and we've got this thing called Kai that lets us do, he waved vaguely, all the stuff you saw. Warrior race. Wonder Woman spoke for the first time, voice carrying Themyscira authority. You fight for honor, for glory, or for gold? Her hand rested near her sword hilt. For fun, mostly, Goku admitted, and the room's temperature seemed to drop. I mean, yeah, I protect people when bad guys show up. Did that my whole life. But honestly, the best part is testing myself against strong opponents, pushing past my limits, seeing what I'm really capable of. His grin was completely guileless. Nothing beats a good fight. Batman's fingers tightened almost imperceptibly. Flash stopped vibrating. Even Superman looked concerned. You fight for fun, Batman repeated, voice colder than Gotham winter. Let me be clear about something, Goku. In this universe, beings with your power level who treat combat as recreation tend to cause extinction-level events. Doomsday enjoyed killing. Darkseid enjoys conquest. Mongol enjoys gladiatorial slaughter. He pulled up images, cities reduced to rubble, worlds burning, corpses stacked like cordwood. Power without purpose becomes destruction. Power with the wrong purpose becomes genocide. Goku's smile faded. I'm not like that. I don't hurt innocent people. Never have, never will. His voice carried absolute conviction. Yeah, I love fighting, but only against people who can handle it, who want the challenge too. Back home, I've saved the world, saved the universe, more times than I can count. He met Batman's shadowed glare without flinching. I'm a good guy. You're just gonna have to trust that. Trust. Batman's laugh was harsh. I don't trust Superman, and I've known him for years. I certainly don't trust a dimensional refugee whose first instinct during an alien invasion was to smile. Bruce, Superman's voice carried warning. He helped stop Brainiac, saved the city. He punched through a spaceship, Batman countered. Destruction is easy. Control is hard. He turned back to Goku. You say you get stronger when you almost die. What happens when you're actually pushed to your limits? When you're desperate, cornered, watching people you care about suffer? Do you stay good, or do you break? The question hung in the air like a blade. Goku's expression shifted, no longer the eager warrior, but something deeper, older. He'd faced this question before, in different forms. Frieza, Cell, Majin Vegeta, Kid Buu, opponents who'd pushed him to edges where restraint became luxury. I've been there, Goku said quietly. Watch my best friend die. Watch my son get tortured. Felt my world getting destroyed while I was too weak to stop it. His hands clenched on the table. Yeah, I got angry, furious even. But I didn't break. I got stronger. And I used that strength to protect people, not hurt them. He looked at each hero in turn. You're right to be careful. Power's dangerous, but power is also necessary. The universe needs people strong enough to stand between the innocent and the monsters. Wonder Woman nodded slowly. Spoken like a true warrior. There's wisdom in you, beneath the battle hunger. She glanced at Batman. I sense no deception in him. His heart rings true. Hearts can change, Batman said. But fine. He closed the holographic displays. You want to prove you're trustworthy? Submit to telepathic scan. John will verify your intentions, your history, your threat level. If you're telling the truth, we help you get home. If you're lying, if I'm lying, you fight me, Goku finished, understanding the unspoken threat. He looked at Martian Manhunter, who floated forward with green skin gleaming under fluorescent lights. You're gonna read my mind? That's new. Never had anyone try that before. He shrugged. Sure, go ahead. I've got nothing to hide. Joan's red eyes glowed softly. This may feel invasive. I will try to be gentle. I trust you, Goku said simply. The Martian's telepathy washed over Goku's consciousness like a tidal wave meeting an immovable object. John gasped, not in pain but in sheer overwhelming input. Decades of memories flooded through the mental link. A boy with a tail meeting a girl with blue hair, training under a turtle hermit, fighting a demon king, dying for his son, training with gods in the afterlife, fusing bodies, battling pink monsters that destroyed galaxies, tournaments between universes where entire realities hung in the balance, power that cracked dimensions, friends who became rivals, who became brothers in arms, and through it all, a purity of purpose that John hadn't encountered in centuries. Goku fought because fighting made him feel alive, protected because protection was right, grew stronger because there was always someone stronger, and that excited him more than anything else in existence. No malice, no hidden agenda, just an endless, almost innocent desire to test himself against worthy opponents and protect those who couldn't protect themselves. John withdrew, visibly shaken. He speaks truth, the Martian said hoarsely. All of it. He has saved his universe multiple times, faced beings who could destroy galaxies and defeated them through strength, ingenuity, and an unshakable moral core. He looked at Batman. He is dangerous, yes, but not to us, not to innocents, only to those who would threaten the defenseless. You're sure? Batman pressed. I am certain, John replied. I have never encountered a mind so uncomplicated. He means exactly what he says. Nothing more, nothing less. The tension in the room shifted. Flash grinned. Dude, you've literally saved the universe? That's awesome. How many times? What were the bad guys like? Could you teach me some of those energy blast things? Barry, focus, Green Lantern said, but he was smiling too. Though I gotta admit, anyone who makes Batman this paranoid and turns out clean is all right in my book. Aquaman stood, extending a hand. The ocean speaks of currents beyond our shores. If you came here by accident, the currents will guide you home eventually. Until then, you have Atlantis' respect. Goku shook his hand, beaming. Thanks. You're all pretty great. Way more organized than my friends back home. We mostly just show up when bad guys attack and punch them until they stop. Superman allowed himself a small smile. We're a bit more strategic than that, usually. Usually, Batman muttered. He straightened, and though his expression remained stern, the hostility had fractured slightly. You've passed initial screening, but understand this. You're on probation. One mistake, one civilian casualty, one incident that suggests you're unstable, and we bring you down. All of us. Together. He glanced at Superman. Clark, you're responsible for him. Show him how we operate. Teach him restraint. Restraint? Goku looked confused. Why would I need... Because, Wonder Woman interrupted gently, in this world our greatest enemy isn't external threats. It's ourselves. Power corrupts. We've seen it happen. Good heroes turn to tyranny when they believe their way is the only way. Her eyes carried the weight of injustice, of timelines where Superman ruled with an iron fist. You must learn to hold back, warrior. Not every problem can be solved with strength. Goku absorbed this, brow furrowed. Back home, holding back meant people died. Frieza, Cell, Boo, all defeated because he'd pushed past his limits, not restrained them. But these heroes seemed genuinely afraid of their own power. What kind of world created that fear? I'll learn, he promised. Your rules, your Earth. I'm just visiting anyway. Cyborg's systems chimed. Speaking of visiting, I've been running analysis on the dimensional tear you came through. Bad news, it's completely sealed. Whatever caused it was one-time event. Good news, theoretically, Beishwein, we could recreate it using Motherbox technology and Speed Force manipulation, but we'd need... Alarms shrieked through the watchtower. Red lights bathed the conference room. On the main screen, boom tubes, massive dimensional portals wreathed in fire, opened above Metropolis, Coast City, and Washington, D.C. simultaneously. From each portal poured demons by the thousands, shrieking alien soldiers in chitinous armor. And behind them, larger shapes moved with terrible purpose. Apocalypse, Batman said grimly. Darkseid's attacking. Full invasion. 3 major cities at once. He was already moving toward the teleportation bay. This is what we do, Goku. You want to see how Earth's heroes operate? You're about to get a demonstration. Goku's grin returned in full force, but battle-hungry and delighted. Finally, a real fight. Superman grabbed his shoulder hard enough that concrete would have crumbled. Not a real fight, a real responsibility. 3 cities, millions of people. Our job isn't to win gloriously, it's to save everyone we can while winning. His eyes bored into Goku's. Can you do that? For a moment, Goku felt the weight of what Superman carried. The burden of being strong enough to save everyone, but never quite managing it. The guilt, the constant calculation of acceptable losses. The grinding horror of being a god who couldn't prevent every death. Yeah, Goku said seriously. I can do that. Then let's move, Wonder Woman commanded, drawing her sword. For Earth! The Justice League teleported into Hell, and Goku followed them down. Metropolis burned beneath Omega beams and parademon swarms. Goku materialized in the teleportation beam beside Superman, boots hitting pavement as the Kryptonian immediately rocketed upward to intercept falling debris from a collapsing office tower. The Science Ki sense exploded with signatures. Thousands of hostile entities, hundreds of terrified civilians, and something massive approaching from the boom tube's event horizon. Flash! Evacuations! Batman's voice crackled through comm links as he grappled between buildings. Explosive batarangs detonating in parademon clusters. Green Lantern, establish aerial perimeter. Aquaman, water main ruptures on 5th and Broadway, flood control. Cyborg, hack their portal technology, buy us time. Wonder Woman, you're with me on the ground forces. The coordination was flawless. Decades of teamwork translating into choreographed efficiency. Each hero moving to their strength, covering each other's vulnerabilities, treating the invasion like a precisely calculated equation where variables were lives saved and costs were measured in seconds. Goku watched Flash blur through crowds at speeds that made even instant transmission look sluggish, plucking civilians from collapsing structures faster than falling rubble. Green Lantern's constructs, massive glowing shields shaped by pure willpower, formed a dome over downtown, catching parademon fire that would have incinerated city blocks. Wonder Woman moved like war incarnate, swords singing through alien flesh, while her lasso yanked civilians from danger with her free hand. They fought like they were dancing, and every step was rehearsed. Goku! Superman's shout pulled his attention upward. The Man of Steel struggled with the office tower's top 15 floors, heat vision welding support beams, while Super Breath extinguished fires. I need these people out before the structure fails. Can you? Goku was already moving. He phased through walls using Kai manipulation, appearing in offices where workers cowered under desks. Hi, I'm Goku. I'm here to help. Gonna need you to hold on tight, okay? Without waiting for responses, he grabbed 3 people in each arm, his Saiyan strength making their weight negligible, and burst through the windows at controlled speed, depositing them on the street below before blurring back for more. 5 trips, 37 people saved, 15 seconds elapsed. Superman nodded approval as the evacuated tower finally gave way, collapsing inward in a controlled demolition guided by strategic heat vision cuts. Good. You're fast. Then his expression hardened. Incoming. Big one. The boom tube dilated, and Kalibak emerged. Dark-side sun, 8 feet of new god muscle wrapped in spiked armor. Beta Club crackling with energy that could shatter planets. The creature's roar split the air as parademons parted before him like water before a shark. Kryptonian! Kalibak bellowed, eyes locking on Superman. Father sends his regards. Your Earth will... He stopped mid-sentence, nostrils flaring. His gaze swung to Goku with predatory interest. Wait, what are you? You smell like power, like combat, like worthy prey. I'm Goku, the Saiyan replied cheerfully, dropping into his fighting stance. And you're attacking innocent people. So I'm gonna have to stop you. Kalibak laughed, the sound like grinding mountains. Another fool who thinks himself strong. Very well, little warrior. I shall crush you first, then the Kryptonian, then this mewling city. He charged, Beta Club swinging in an arc that displaced air with thunderclap force. Goku caught it one-handed. The shockwave from the block strike flattened parademons in a 50-foot radius. Kalibak's eyes widened in genuine surprise as his strength, sufficient to trade blows with Superman, met immovable resistance. Goku's fingers tightened on the club, and the new god tech groaned under pressure. You're strong, Goku observed, grinning. But I've fought stronger. Way stronger. He twisted, using the captured club as a fulcrum to flip Kalibak over his head and slam the new god into pavement hard enough to create a crater. Where I'm from, we'd call you maybe middle tier. Good warm-up, though. Kalibak surged up, pride wounded and rage ignited. Middle tier? I am the son of Darkseid. I have conquered worlds. His Beta Club ignited with Omega energy, a pale shadow of his father's power, but still sufficient to atomize most beings. He swung with killing intent. Goku weaved through the strikes like water, each swing missing by millimeters, his combat instincts reading telegraphed movements before they completed. Kalibak was strong, yes. Durable, absolutely. But compared to Frieza's speed, Cell's tactics, or Boo's unpredictability, this enemy fought with brute force and wounded pride. Readable, exploitable. Superman, Goku called out between dodges. You want this guy, or should I handle him? Clark was busy preventing a collapsing bridge from crushing evacuation convoys, but he spared a glance at the fight. Goku was toying with Kalibak, obviously toying, dancing around strikes that would have challenged most heroes. The Saiyan wasn't even transformed, wasn't using those higher states John had glimpsed in his memories. Just base form, having fun. Don't kill him, Superman shouted back. Subdual only. Goku's grin faltered slightly. Right. Rules. These heroes didn't kill, even monsters who'd slaughtered worlds. He'd have to adjust. Got it. Non-lethal. He blocked another club swing, then drove his fist into Kalibak's solar plexus with precisely calculated force, enough to shatter the armor plating and drive the air from New God lungs, not enough to rupture organs. Kalibak folded like wet cardboard, crashing to his knees as Goku followed up with a spinning kick that sent him airborne. The Saiyan appeared above him via instant transmission, still unreliable in this universe, but working better now that he'd adapted, and hammered both fists down into Kalibak's spine. The new god cratered into the street beside his fallen Beta Club, unconscious before the debris stopped falling. Total fight duration, 43 seconds. Batman's voice crackled through comms, measured but carrying an edge. Goku just neutralized Kalibak. Superman, confirm? Clark used X-ray vision to scan the fallen new god. Unconscious, multiple fractures, internal bruising, but he'll live. Goku pulled his punches. There was something in Superman's voice, relief mixed with concern. The Scion had demonstrated restraint, yes, but also such overwhelming superiority that Kalibak, a being who'd fought the Justice League to stand still multiple times, had been a training dummy. Good, Batman replied. New problem. Boom tube signatures multiplying. Cyborg, report. They're compensating for my hacks. Cyborg's voice strained with effort. Opening additional portals faster than I can shut them down. We've got incoming in Gotham now. Star City, Detroit, they're spreading us thin. Wonder Woman's lasso wrapped around a Paradaman squadron as her voice cut through the chaos. Classic apocalypse strategy. Divide our forces. They know we cannot abandon the innocent. Her warrior's assessment was grim. We need more defenders or fewer battlefields. Goku listened to the tactical chatter, understanding the problem immediately. Too many enemies, too many cities, not enough heroes. Back home, this would be when Gohan, Piccolo, and the others would show up. But here the Justice League seemed to be it, Earth's primary and perhaps only defense against God-level threats. I can help with that, Goku said, floating up to where Superman hovered. Your instant transmission's different from mine, right? You can't teleport? Not naturally, Superman confirmed. Why? Because I can, sort of. Still glitchy in your universe, but it's getting better. Goku cracked his knuckles. If you tell me where these other cities are, I can jump between battlefields, hit the enemies hard enough to scatter them, then jump to the next city. Keep them off balance while you guys handle the evacuations and cleanup here. Batman's voice was immediate. Negative. We don't know your limits, your reliability, or if this is a trap to isolate you. You stay with Superman. Bruce has a point, Clark admitted reluctantly. We just met you. Sending you solo into combat against unknown numbers is... An explosion rocked Gotham's financial district, visible even from Metropolis as fire painted the night sky orange. Oracle's panicked voice flooded the channel. Bat families engaged in Gotham. Multiple Furies detected. Granny Goodness is leading the assault. We're outnumbered 5-1, and civilian casualties are climbing. Batman's jaw clenched hard enough to crack teeth. His city, his family, under assault while he coordinated from Metropolis. The choice paralyzed him for precisely half a second. Stay and lead the League, or go protect Gotham. Superman saw the conflict written across his face. Go, Clark said quietly. We've got Metropolis. Save Gotham. Batman didn't argue. He vanished into teleportation beam, cape swirling like shadow-given form. And in that moment of leadership vacuum, Goku made his own choice. Sorry, Superman, but people are dying in those other cities. He placed 2 fingers to his forehead. Key sense stretching across unfamiliar continents, seeking the massive hostile signatures that had to be Apocalypse forces. Found one. Gotham, burning bright with combat and terror. I'll be careful, promise. But I didn't come to this universe to stand around while bad guys hurt people. Goku, wait! The Saiyan vanished in a flicker of instant transmission, reappearing in Gotham's smoke-choked streets just as Granny Goodness raised her mega rod to vaporize a building full of trapped civilians. His hand caught her wrist mid-swing, and the ancient new god's eyes went wide with shock at being stopped. Hi, Goku said pleasantly. Mind if I cut in? In Metropolis, Superman stared at empty air where Goku had stood, then sighed deeply, into his calm. He's gone to Gotham, just appeared there using that teleportation technique. A pause. Bruce, you've got backup incoming. Friendly. Probably. Batman's growled response crackled with static and explosions. Define probably. It's Goku. He decided to help whether we approved or not. In the Batcave's satellite feeds, Alfred Pennyworth allowed himself the smallest smile as he watched a figure in orange guy trade blows with one of Apocalypse's most feared warriors. The young man has initiative, Master Bruce, and a certain disregard for protocol that reminds me of someone else I know. He's nothing like me, Batman snapped, even as he watched Goku disarm Granny Goodness with casual efficiency and toss her into a parademon formation like a bowling ball into pins. I follow plans. Of course, sir, Alfred replied, not bothering to hide his amusement. Your decision to become a vigilante dressed as a bat was thoroughly planned and committee approved. Batman didn't respond because Goku had just saved 17 civilians by catching a collapsing gargoyle one-handed while simultaneously kicking 3 parademons into low orbit. The Saiyan was grinning like this was the best day of his life, and civilians were cheering despite the apocalypse reigning around them. On Apocalypse, Darkseid watched through parademon visual feeds as his invasion forces, carefully calculated to overwhelm Earth's defenders through numerical superiority and tactical dispersion, encountered an unexpected variable. The orange-clothed warrior moved between cities now, appearing and disappearing via unknown means, hitting his forces with enough strength to shatter formations and scatter organized assaults into chaotic retreats. Interesting. Darkseid's eyes glowed red with Omega energy. This scion wasn't listed in any database, wasn't part of prophecy or prediction, just raw power, untrained in cosmic warfare, operating on instinct and joy rather than strategy or fear. A perfect test subject for the anti-life equation, or perhaps a perfect weapon once properly broken. The Lord of Apocalypse smiled, and the universe trembled. Gotham's shadows writhed with parademon swarms as Goku flickered between battlefields like lightning given form. One moment he stood beside Nightwing, deflecting Omega Beam fire with pure key manipulation. The next he materialized in Star City, catching a falling skyscraper that Green Arrow's trick arrows couldn't possibly support. Then Detroit, then Chicago, then back to Gotham. Instant transmission, finally synchronizing with this universe's dimensional fabric, growing more precise with each jump. But something felt wrong. Batman noticed it first. The attacks are too coordinated, he growled into the comm, while grappling up Wayne Tower to reach Damian, who fought three Furies simultaneously with lethal Robin precision. Apocalypse doesn't operate with this much finesse. They overwhelm through brutality, not strategy. His detective mind raced through variables. They're testing us. No, testing him. In Metropolis, Superman caught the implication immediately. You think they're measuring Goku's capabilities? I think Darkseid noticed someone new appeared on his radar and wants to know what he's dealing with before committing real resources. Batman's batarang exploded in a parademon's face. These are probing attacks. The invasion's secondary to intelligence gathering. Wonder Woman cut down two parademons with her god-killer sword. Amazonian training turning combat into brutal artistry. Then we end this quickly before they learn too much. Diana to all stations, maximum aggression protocols. Drive them back to their boom tubes? The League shifted tactics, no longer playing defensive. Flash became a yellow-red tornado. His speed force manipulation creating vortexes that sucked parademons into their own portals. Green Lantern's constructs transformed from shields to weapons, massive hammers and cannons that battered Apocalypse forces with hard light fury. Aquaman summoned water from Gotham's harbor, drowning parademons in crushing waves while his trident impaled Furies who thought themselves immortal. And Goku, teleporting between cities, began to understand the pattern Batman had identified. The enemies weren't fighting to win, they were fighting to make him reveal more. Each time he used a technique, parademon formations would scatter and reposition, cameras in their armor capturing data. When he powered up to Super Saiyan briefly in Detroit, golden hair and emerald aura blazing, the attacks ceased entirely for 30 seconds. Just long enough to transmit the footage. They're studying me, Goku realized, touching down beside Red Hood in Crime Alley. Jason Todd's helmet turned toward him, guns still smoking from putting down parademons with lethal efficiency that would have horrified Batman. No shit, Red Hood said flatly. Welcome to fighting Darkseid. He collects information like other people collect stamps. Every punch you throw, every power you show, he's recording and analyzing. He reloaded with practiced ease. Word of advice? Save your trump cards. Don't go full power until absolutely necessary. Goku powered down from Super Saiyan, hair returning to black. Your Batman said something similar. You guys really don't trust showing what you can do, huh? We trust what we've learned the hard way. Red Hood fired past Goku's shoulder, dropping a parademon that had been diving from above. Darkseid's killed this universe before. Actual death, broke reality, enslaved everyone, made Superman kneel. We only survived because Flash reset the timeline. His voice carried scars deeper than bullets had made. So yeah, we're cautious with god-tier threats. They earn our full power when we have no choice left. The boom tubes began collapsing, parademons retreating in organized withdrawal. Granny Goodness's voice echoed across multiple cities simultaneously through their technology. Adequate data gathered. Lord Darkseid expresses, interest in the Scion? You will see us again, warriors of Earth. And next time, we bring understanding. Then they were gone, vanished back to apocalypse as suddenly as they'd appeared, leaving burning cities and thousands of injured, but, miraculously, relatively few dead. The League's coordination had worked. Goku's intervention had prevented the worst, but victory felt hollow. Regroup at the watchtower, Batman ordered. Damage assessment, casualty reports, and we need to discuss what just happened. Goku teleported back to Metropolis, appearing beside Superman, who floated above the city using heat vision to weld damaged infrastructure with surgical precision. The Scion watched in silent admiration. This Kryptonian's control was incredible, treating post-battle reconstruction with the same intensity most warriors reserve for combat. You did well, Superman said without looking away from his work. Saved a lot of lives jumping between cities like that. But I also showed them too much, didn't I? Goku's voice carried uncharacteristic frustration. Your Batman was right. I should have been more careful. Maybe. Superman finished welding a support beam, then finally met Goku's eyes. But you also proved something important. You can be trusted in crisis. You prioritized civilians over glory, followed our lead even when you didn't have to, and pulled your punches when you could have killed. He placed a hand on Goku's shoulder. That matters more than tactical secrecy. They teleported to the watchtower together, materializing in the conference room where the League assembled. Batman was already running holographic analysis, footage of Goku fighting playing on multiple screens, energy output graphs spiking with each technique. The detective's expression was unreadable behind the cowl. Preliminary assessment, Cyborg reported, streams of data flowing across his mechanical components. Civilian casualties, 47 dead, 318 injured. Could have been thousands without coordinated response. Infrastructure damage estimated at $2 billion, but repairable. Apocalypse forces withdrew after achieving primary objective, which appears to have been reconnaissance, not conquest. Reconnaissance on Goku specifically, Batman confirmed, pulling up parademon camera feeds. Watch. The footage showed Goku's movements from multiple angles, analyzed in real time by Apocalypse AI. Power measurements, technique classifications, estimated limits. Darkseid now has comprehensive data on your base form, partial data on this Super Saiyan transformation, and knows you can teleport between continents. He's building a profile. Goku winced. Sorry, I didn't think. No, you didn't, Batman interrupted. You acted on instinct and heroism, which saved lives but compromised strategic advantage. Double-edged sword. He closed the files. But you're not trained for cosmic warfare. That's on us for not briefing you properly before throwing you into combat. Wonder Woman nodded. The warrior speaks truth. We expected you to follow protocols you'd never learned. That failure is ours. She studied Goku with renewed respect. You fought with honor and restraint against Kalibak and Granny Goodness, both opponents who've challenged our full league before. Your power is formidable, Goku, but power without knowledge of your enemies is vulnerability. So teach me, Goku said simply, about this Darkseid guy, about how you fight, about why you're all so afraid of going all out. He looked around the table. I'm stuck in your universe until we figure out the dimensional thing anyway. Might as well learn how things work here. Flash vibrated excitedly. Ooh, we could do training sessions. I'd love to see if I could outrace your teleportation technique, and you could teach me some of those energy attacks. Can you imagine a Speed Force Kamehameha? Barry, focus, Green Lantern said, but he was grinning. Though I wouldn't mind a friendly sparring match myself. Haven't had anyone match my construct's strength in a while. Absolutely not. Batman's voice cut through the enthusiasm like a blade. We're not running a training camp. Goku needs education on threats, not encouragement to fight League members for fun. Actually, Jun spoke quietly from his corner, red eyes thoughtful. A controlled sparring session might provide valuable data on Goku's capabilities. Data we control rather than Darkseid. If we understand his limits, we can plan accordingly, and he learns our tactics through demonstration rather than lecture. Superman considered this. John has a point. Goku learns through experience. not theory. If we want him to understand why we hold back, why we strategize, why we maintain secret identities and contingency protocols, he needs to experience the consequences of not doing those things. You want to fight me? Goku's eyes lit up like a child promised dessert. Really? All of you? Not all of us, Wonder Woman corrected, but perhaps a trial by combat. Traditional among warriors, you face us individually, and through each battle, you learn our methods and we learn yours. She drew her sword. I volunteer to be first. The Amazon way is direct. Batman looked like he wanted to argue, but something in his tactical mind must have calculated the benefits. Fine, but not on the Watchtower. We use the training dimension, pocket reality designed for superpowered combat, contained, monitored, and if things go wrong, we can shut it down. And after each match we debrief, Cyborg added, analyze what worked, what didn't, teach Goku about the specific League member he faced, build understanding. Aquaman stood, trident gleaming. This is wise. The ocean teaches through experience, not words. Goku will understand our strength and our limits through honorable combat. He glanced at the Saiyan. And we'll understand if you're truly an ally or a threat we've misjudged. The room fell quiet. That was the real test, Goku realized. They were saying all the right things about training and tactics, but underneath ran a current of suspicion. These heroes had been burned before by powerful beings who seemed friendly. John's telepathic scan had verified his intentions, yes, but intentions could change. Power could corrupt. Even Superman had apparently become a tyrant in some timeline. They were giving him a chance to prove himself. But they were also creating a controlled environment to neutralize him if necessary. Goku appreciated the honesty of it. Okay, he said, grinning. Let's do it. But fair warning, I'm going to take this seriously, not to hurt anyone, but because the best way to respect a warrior is to give them your best fight. Wonder Woman smiled, and it was a predator's expression. I would expect nothing less, Saiyan. Come, let us see if your strength matches your spirit. The League filed toward the training dimension portal, each hero mentally preparing for what came next. Batman hung back, watching Goku with calculating eyes. The Saiyan had passed the first test, combat effectiveness under crisis. Now came the second test. Could he be beaten? And more importantly, how would he react to losing? Because Batman had reviewed John's telepathic data, had seen the transformations, the god-level powers, the ultra instinct state where Goku moved beyond conscious thought. The Saiyan hadn't revealed even a fraction of his true capabilities during the Apocalypse attack, which meant either he was incredibly restrained or incredibly dangerous. The training dimension would reveal which. On Apocalypse, in his throne room of living darkness, Darkseid reviewed the same footage Batman analyzed. His analysts provided estimates. The Saiyan's base form possessed strength comparable to Superman, speed approaching Flash's lower tiers, durability sufficient to withstand Omega Beam glancing blows. But the transformation, this Super Saiyan state, multiplied those capabilities exponentially. And according to thermal analysis and energy pattern recognition, that golden form wasn't his limit, merely the beginning. Fascinating, Darkseid murmured, eyes glowing crimson. A warrior race from beyond the Source Wall's reach, uncorrupted by anti-life, untouched by Apocalypse philosophy, pure strength without purpose beyond battle itself. His massive hand clenched. Such waste, such potential. Granny Goodness knelt before his throne, ancient and cruel. Shall I prepare the agony matrix, my lord? Break him as we broke so many others? No. Darkseid stood, and reality seemed to compress around his presence. This one doesn't break through pain. John's telepathic scan, intercepted and analyzed, reveals a mind conditioned through constant death and resurrection. Physical torment would be meaningless. He smiled, and it was terrible. But everyone has a weakness. Everyone serves something, even if they don't realize it. We will discover what the Saiyan values above strength itself. And when we do, my lord, we take it from him, show him that in this universe, power without purpose is slavery, and then, Darkseid's Omega eyes flared bright enough to illuminate the throne room like twin suns. We give him purpose. Mine. In the training dimension, Goku stretched while Wonder Woman removed her bracelets, unleashing her full divine strength without restriction. Neither warrior knew that their upcoming battle was observed by two sets of eyes: the Justice League's hopeful assessment and Apocalypse's patient study, both watching to see what happened when an unstoppable warrior met an immovable Amazon, both waiting to learn if Goku was savior or weapon waiting to be claimed. The training dimension unfurled around them like a canvas painted in cosmic possibility, an endless white expanse where reality bent to accommodate superpowered combat without risking actual worlds. Goku felt the difference immediately. Gravity fluctuated in response to their power levels. Atmosphere thickened or thinned to prevent shock waves from propagating destructively. And the ground beneath their feet existed in quantum superposition until force collapsed it into temporary solidity. "Impressive tech," Goku said, bouncing experimentally. The surface responded like trampoline concrete. "Where I'm from, we usually just find empty planets to spar on. This is way more convenient." Wonder Woman stood across from him, 20 meters of white void between them. Without her bracelets, the magical limiters forged by Hephaestus himself, her divine power radiated like heat from a furnace. Daughter of Zeus, Amazon princess, warrior who'd traded blows with gods since before Goku was born. Her sword remained sheathed, her lasso coiled at her hip. For this first match, she'd use only hands blessed by Olympus. "The rules are simple," Diana said, voice carrying absolute authority. "First to yield or incapacitation. No killing blows, but do not insult me by holding back excessively. I wish to see what you are truly capable of, Scion." From the observation deck, a dimensional overlap where the League watched safely, Batman's fingers flew across holographic controls. Biometric monitoring active, power output tracking, structural integrity at maximum. If either combatant exceeds safety thresholds, I'm pulling them out. "Let them fight, Bruce," Superman said quietly. "Diana knows her limits, and we need to see Goku's." In the arena, Goku dropped into his fighting stance, weight balanced, arms loose, Kai cycling through meridians in patterns perfected through decades of martial arts. "I've never fought an actual goddess before. Well, except Beerus, but he's a god of destruction, so I'm not sure that counts." He grinned. "This is gonna be fun." Wonder Woman moved first. She crossed 20 meters in a heartbeat, fists driving toward Goku's jaw with enough force to shatter mountains. The Saiyan blocked with his forearm, and the impact created a shock wave that rippled through the training dimension like a stone dropped in still water. Goku slid back 3 feet, boots carving trenches in probability foam ground. "Strong!" he laughed, genuine delight coloring his voice. He pushed back, redirecting Diana's momentum and following with a snap kick aimed at her ribs. She caught his ankle mid-strike, twisted to throw him, but Goku used the rotation to spin into a second kick that Diana barely blocked with her bracers. Wait, she wasn't wearing bracers anymore. She'd blocked with pure forearm, and the collision rang like struck bronze. They separated, circling. Diana's eyes narrowed with tactical assessment. The Saiyan fought with technique that suggested formal training beneath the wild enthusiasm. His blocks were precise, his counters economical, his footwork adapting to her Amazon combat style within seconds. Not just powerful, genuinely skilled. "You've trained with masters," Diana observed, shifting to a more aggressive stance. "The best," Goku confirmed. "Master Roshi taught me foundations. Kami showed me how to sense energy. King Kai gave me the Kaioken. Whis is teaching me Ultra Instinct." He bounced on his toes. "Everyone I fight makes me better. That's how Scions work. We adapt, we grow, we overcome." "Then adapt to this." Wonder Woman blurred forward again, but this time her attack pattern shifted. Amazon Pancration, ancient Greek martial art refined over 3,000 years of warfare. High-low combinations that targeted pressure points and structural weaknesses. Grappling attempts designed to neutralize strength advantages through leverage and joint manipulation. Goku found himself actually challenged. Diana wasn't just strong, she was technical in ways that reminded him of Piccolo's strategic fighting or Hit's precision. Every punch had purpose beyond damage. Every movement flowed into 3 potential follow-ups. She fought like someone who'd studied war as both art and science. He started matching her seriously, no longer just reacting, but anticipating. Their speeds increased, fists became blurs. The training dimension's atmosphere compressed under repeated shock waves, creating weather patterns from pure kinetic energy. Thunderheads forming from displaced air, lightning crackling where their auras met. On the observation deck, Flash whistled. Okay, they're moving fast enough I'm actually having to focus to track them. That's concerning? Impressive? Both? Power output climbing steadily, Cyborg reported. Goku's holding at roughly 60% based on the Super Saiyan transformation baseline we saw earlier. Wonder Woman's at 75% without her bracers. His cybernetic eye zoomed in. But neither one's breathing hard yet. This is still warm-up for them. Batman said nothing, but his jaw tightened. Two beings capable of leveling cities sparring like it was recreational activity. The destructive potential in that arena could challenge the entire league if turned hostile. Goku caught Diana's wrist mid-punch, she caught his ankle mid-kick, and for a frozen moment they stood locked in mutual stalemate. Then Goku grinned and channeled ki through his palm. Not an attack, just a pulse of energy. Diana's eyes widened as the foreign power washed over her, warm and alive and utterly unlike magic or divine blessing. She released his ankle and drove her forehead into his nose in a brutal Themysciran headbutt. Goku's head snapped back, stars exploding across his vision. Ow! Okay, that was smart. He laughed through a bloody nose that healed in seconds thanks to Saiyan regeneration. You fight dirty. I like it. I fight to win, Diana corrected, following up with a knee strike that Goku barely deflected. There is no honor in losing because you were too proud to use effective tactics. Vegeta says the same thing. Goku blocked a flurry of punches, each one testing different defenses. He's always calling me an idiot for not finishing fights faster. They broke apart again, both slightly winded now. But where's the fun in ending things quick? The longer the fight, the more you learn? Wonder Woman paused, something in Goku's words resonating. You fight to learn, not to win? Winning's nice, Goku admitted, but fighting someone strong teaches me things I can't learn any other way. Every opponent's a lesson. Every battle makes me better. His expression grew more serious. That's why I want to understand you guys. Your Superman holds back so much I can barely feel his real power. Your Batman plans to kill his friends just in case. You take off limiters but still fight carefully, like you're afraid of what happens if you really cut loose. Because we are afraid, Diana's voice carried the weight of injustice, of timelines where restraint failed. You asked why we fear our own strength. Let me show you. She moved faster than before, and Goku realized she'd been holding back more than he'd estimated. Daughter of Zeus unleashed, fists trailing lightning, strength that bent reality's rules, speed that made the air scream. She drove him back with a combination that would have pulverized steel, forced him to defend with Kai-reinforced blocks that left his arms tingling. We fear, Diana said between strikes, because power corrupts, a punch that Goku barely dodged. We fear because good intentions pave roads to tyranny, a kick that he caught but couldn't fully deflect, sending him skidding. We fear because in another timeline, Superman decided one death was too many, so he killed all who threatened peace and created a regime worse than any villain. She spun into a devastating roundhouse that Goku met with his own kick, the collision creating a pillar of displaced air that rose like a mushroom cloud. They hung in midair, legs locked, eyes meeting. We fear, Diana finished quietly, because we've seen what happens when beings like us stop questioning whether we should do something just because we can. Goku absorbed this, understanding, clicking into place. These heroes weren't weak. They weren't cowards. They were warriors fighting a battle against their own potential for corruption, and that fight never ended. Every punch pulled was a victory over the easy path. And every villain spared was defiance of the voice that whispered about simpler solutions. I get it now, he said softly, then louder, grinning, but that just means you need to fight someone you don't have to hold back against. Kai exploded around him, white-blue aura blazing. Let me show you what it's like to really cut loose without worrying about consequences. He didn't transform, not yet. but his power spiked to 80%, scion biology flooding muscles with energy that this universe's yellow sun seemed to amplify. His speed doubled. Strength increased proportionally. He became the opponent Diana could truly fight without fear of holding back. And for the first time in years, Wonder Woman smiled with pure warrior's joy. They clashed at the arena's center. In the training dimensions, reality processors struggled to maintain coherence under the assault. Punch met punch. Kick countered kick. Divine power and key energy created aurora spirals where they mixed. Diana's 3,000 years of combat experience met Goku's instinctive adaptability, and for precious minutes, two warriors existed in perfect challenge. In the observation deck, the League watched in silent awe. "She's smiling," Superman said wonderingly. "Diana's actually smiling. When's the last time we saw that?" "When she sparred with Mongol on Warworld," Batman replied, fingers still flying across controls. "Right before she nearly killed him." He pulled up power readings. "They're both approaching dangerous thresholds. I'm giving them 2 more minutes, then I shut it down." But Aquaman shook his head. "Look at them, detective. Truly look. This isn't violence, it's conversation. They speak through combat what words cannot convey. To stop them now would be disrespectful." He was right. Goku and Diana had achieved something rare. Two beings of comparable power and skill, testing each other without malice, learning through impact and response. Every exchange taught them about each other's limits, philosophy, and character. Diana learned that Goku's strength came from joy rather than duty, that his power grew through challenge rather than training regimen, and that his pure heart wasn't naivety, but choice deliberately maintained despite experiencing darkness. Goku learned that Diana carried the burden of being bridge between mortals and gods, that her restraint was harder won than his enthusiasm, and that true strength included knowing when not to fight. They broke apart a final time, both breathing heavily, both grinning. "You are remarkable, Goku," Diana said, sweat gleaming on her brow. "Your strength rivals Superman's, your technique rivals Batman's best students, and your spirit reminds me why we fight in the first place. Not from fear of losing, but love of living." "You're amazing too," Goku replied, wiping blood from a split lip that had already healed. "Way stronger than I expected. And that thing you said about fearing your own power? I'm gonna think about that. Really think about it." "Then I call this match a draw," Diana decided. "Neither of us yielded, but both of us learned. Is this acceptable?" "More than acceptable." Goku offered his hand. Diana clasped his forearm in warrior's greeting, and the gesture sealed mutual respect. The training dimension dissolved, returning them to the Watchtower's briefing room where the League waited. Batman immediately began reviewing combat data, expression unreadable. Superman looked relieved. Flash was vibrating with excitement about potential future matches. "Impressive," John Jones said telepathically to Goku alone. "You adapted to her style within minutes. Your combat intelligence is formidable." "Thanks," Goku thought back, still getting used to telepathic communication. "She taught me a lot. About fighting, yeah, but also about why you guys are so careful with power." "Debriefing," Batman announced, pulling up holographic fight footage. "Goku, you demonstrated excellent restraint, adaptive combat strategy, and genuine respect for your opponent. You also revealed that your base form at 80% exceeds most metahuman capabilities and rivals League heavy hitters." He zoomed in on a moment where Goku's ki flared. "This energy you use, ki, it's not magical, not technological. What exactly is it?" "Life force," Goku explained. "Everyone has it. I just learned to control mine, use it for attacks and defense, and sensing other ki signatures." He demonstrated a small sphere of blue energy forming in his palm. "It's how I knew Wonder Woman was holding back. I could feel her power growing as we fought." "Can it be drained?" Batman's question had strategic weight. "Disrupted? Nullified? Maybe." Goku shrugged. "Never really encountered something that completely stopped it. Magic can mess with it sometimes, and there's this technique called the mafuba that seals people away. But mostly, as long as I'm alive and have energy, I can use ki." Cyborg's scanners hummed. "I'm detecting zero radiation, minimal thermal output, and energy patterns that don't match any known wavelength. It's like biological fusion. Your cells are converting something, food, sunlight, directly into this power. Mostly food, Goku confirmed. Scions eat a lot, like a lot. Our metabolism burns energy for strength. His stomach growled on cue. Actually, speaking of which, you guys got that kitchen Superman mentioned? I'm starving. The casual return to mundane concerns after a battle that had nearly overloaded dimensional processors made several League members laugh. Flash zipped to Goku's side. Oh man, if you eat as much as you fight, we're going to be best friends. Come on, I'll show you the kitchen. Fair warning, our budget isn't built for Saiyan appetites, but I can probably vibrate together a feast before Batman notices the supply depletion. As they headed toward the commissary, Wonder Woman stopped Goku with a gentle hand on his shoulder. Thank you, warrior. Today you reminded me why I fight. Not from fear, but from hope. You face power with joy rather than dread. That is a gift our world desperately needs. Goku's expression turned earnest. And you taught me why being strong isn't enough. Gotta be wise too. Responsible. He glanced back at the others. Your league's pretty special. You've all got power, but you don't let it make you forget what you're protecting. After Goku left with Flash, the remaining League members gathered for private assessment. He's genuine, Superman said firmly. Everything John read, everything we just witnessed, he's exactly what he appears to be. Powerful, good-hearted, and trustworthy. For now, Batman countered, but Diana's point about injustice stands. You were good-hearted too, Clark. Then Joker made you kill Lois, and you became the man who burned a stadium full of children to maintain order. His voice was harsh but necessary. Good hearts can break. We need to prepare for that possibility. So what do you suggest? Aquaman asked. Treat our potential ally like a potential threat? We treat him like what he is, an unknown quantity with world-ending power. Batman pulled up files. I'm developing contingencies, not to be cruel, but to be realistic. If Goku is corrupted, compromised, or mind-controlled, we need methods to stop him. And those methods are? Wonder Woman's tone suggested she already disapproved. Batman listed them clinically. Kryptonite might affect Saiyan biology similarly to Kryptonian. Worth testing. Magic clearly works on him based on his reactions to your divine power, Diana. His teleportation requires concentration. Psychic attacks or sensory overload could disrupt it. He needs to eat constantly. Starvation would weaken him. And his greatest vulnerability, Batman paused significantly, is that he cares about people, about honor, about his friends back home. Threaten what he values, and you control his actions. The room fell silent. The last point was darkest, exploiting goodness as weakness. It was also undeniably effective and thoroughly Batman. If you're building contingencies for Goku, Superman said carefully, remember that Darkseid is doing the same thing. The difference is we want to protect him from corruption. Darkseid wants to cause it. In Apocalypse throne room, Granny Goodness played the same footage Batman analyzed. The Saiyan values combat, Lord Darkseid, and through combat he forms bonds. The Amazon already respects him. The Kryptonian trusts him. He is being integrated into their league. Yes, Darkseid agreed, which means when we take him, we take not just a warrior, but their hope. His smile was extinction event terrible. Prepare the boom tubes. Next time we bring not armies, but psychology. Find what the Saiyan loves most and show him how easily we can destroy it. And if he resists, my lord, then we destroy it anyway, Darkseid said simply. Pain teaches faster than philosophy, and I am an excellent teacher. 3 days passed in strange normalcy. Goku sparred with different league members. Speed Force races with Flash that broke dimensional sound barriers. Construct battles with Green Lantern that painted space in emerald imagination. Underwater combat with Aquaman that created tsunamis the Atlantean King had to personally calm. Each session revealed more of the Saiyan's capabilities while teaching him Earth's unique dangers. Magic could bypass his key defenses, psychic attacks disrupted his concentration, and kryptonite radiation, tested carefully in containment. made him mildly nauseous, though not nearly as debilitating as it affected Kryptonians. Batman watched, analyzed, built contingencies, and Darkseid waited. The Lord of Apocalypse struck at dawn on the fourth day, but not with armies. A single boom tube opened above Metropolis, not the massive invasion portals, but a small, precise rupture in space. Through it stepped a parademon, holding a small device that broadcast on all frequencies simultaneously. Goku was in the Watchtower's training room, practicing key control exercises Whis had taught him when every screen in the station activated with Darkseid's face. The new god's eyes burned with Omega energy, his stone-carved features expressing something between curiosity and contempt. Scion, Darkseid's voice resonated with the weight of crushed civilizations. You have entertained me with your display of power. Your battles with Earth's champions revealed capabilities that intrigue. Now I offer you a choice, not from generosity, but from recognition of worthy strength. The alarm screamed. The League rushed to the conference room, assembling with practiced efficiency. On screen, Darkseid continued, unhurried. Your universe is beyond my reach, for now, but this universe contains what you seek. Combat, challenge, opponents worthy of your strength. He gestured and the image shifted to show Apocalypse's arena, a massive coliseum where champions fought and died for Darkseid's amusement. Join me. Fight under my banner. I offer you endless war against the strongest beings in this reality. The anti-life equation can free you from bothersome morality that weakens warriors. Pure combat, unrestrained by these heroes' fear of their own power. Goku's expression hardened. I'm not interested in fighting for you, or this anti-life thing, whatever that is. I anticipated your refusal, Darkseid said, almost pleasantly, which is why I prepared incentive. The image shifted again, and Goku's heart stopped. The screen showed a boom tube opening above a small rural town in Kansas, Smallville, though Goku didn't know the name. Parademons descended in surgical precision, ignoring the town itself, targeting one specific farm, one specific elderly couple working in their fields, looking up in confusion as shadows fell across amber wheat. Martha and Jonathan Kent, Darkseid identified them. Superman's human parents, the mortals who taught the Kryptonian to value weakness, to hold back, to waste his potential on protecting cattle and crops. His eyes glowed brighter. You have 10 minutes to reach Smallville, Scion. Bring Superman if you wish, watching his face as you choose between saving his parents and maintaining your precious principles will be educational. The transmission ended. Superman was already moving, rage and terror warring on his face. Teleportation now! Cyborg! Boom tubes faster! Goku interrupted, placing 2 fingers to his forehead. I can sense their key signatures. They're scared but alive. He grabbed Superman's shoulder. Hold on, I'll get us there in... The instant transmission flickered, failed. Goku tried again, sweat beading on his forehead. Something's blocking it. Some kind of interference. Apocalypse technology, Batman snapped, already calculating. They're jamming teleportation in a radius around Smallville, forcing us to come through their boom tube or not at all. His jaw clenched. It's a trap. Obviously a trap. I don't care. Superman's heat vision flared involuntarily. That's my mother down there. Wonder Woman grabbed her lasso. Then we spring the trap together. Justice League, full deployment. If Darkseid wants war over 2 innocents, we'll give him Armageddon. Goku watched Superman's face, saw the calculation happening behind Kryptonian eyes, the same math Darkseid wanted him to see. Save 2 people he loved versus risk the League, potentially endanger the world, play into enemy hands. The impossible equation that had no right answer. This was the test, not of strength, but of what Goku would sacrifice for strangers' parents, of whether he'd learned restraint or still operated on pure heroic instinct. We go, Goku said firmly. All of us. Fast as possible. He met Batman's shadow glare. Yeah, it's a trap. Don't care. Those are Superman's parents. You don't leave family behind. Ever. Even if it's exactly what Darkseid wants, Batman challenged. Especially then, Goku replied, because if we don't go, he wins anyway. He proves that fear makes us abandon people. That strategy matters more than lives. that we're willing to sacrifice the innocent for the greater good. His voice carried absolute conviction. Where I'm from, we tried that once. Let evil happen because fighting back seemed too dangerous. You know what we learned? That there's no good that comes from letting bad things happen. You fight, always, even when it's stupid. Superman looked at Goku with something like gratitude and grief. Bruce? Batman was quiet for 3 seconds, an eternity in crisis time. Then, full deployment, but we do this smart. Flash, you're on civilian evacuation. Get everyone in Smallville clear. Green Lantern, aerial superiority. Aquaman, coordinate with local authorities. Cyborg, I need you jamming their communications while maintaining ours. He turned to Goku. You and Superman get the Kents. Wonder Woman and I will handle whatever Darkseid's actually planning, because this isn't about two farmers. It's about breaking Superman, John said quietly, and measuring Goku's response to hostage situations. Darkseid studies psychology as weapon. Then let's teach him a lesson, Goku said, cracking his knuckles. In my universe, bad guys who threaten families tend to regret it. The League mobilized with efficiency born from countless crises. Cyborg opened boom tubes directly to Smallville, despite the jamming, Motherbox technology fighting Motherbox technology in silent dimensional warfare. They emerged in Kansas sunshine to find the town eerily quiet, parademons perched on buildings like gargoyles, and in the Kent Farm's front yard, Martha and Jonathan stood with Omega collars around their throats. Darkseid himself materialized from fire and shadow, towering presence making the humble farmhouse look like a dollhouse. Behind him stood his elite, Granny Goodness with her mega rod crackling, Calabac recovered and furious, the female Furies in formation, and Desaad holding instruments of torment that gleam with malicious purpose. Predictable, Darkseid said, voice carrying across the battlefield. The Scion chose heroism over strategy. Superman chose love over wisdom. And Batman, he smiled at the Dark Knight, came knowing it was trap, unable to stop himself from trying anyway. You are all so beautifully flawed. Superman floated forward, fists clenched. Let them go, Darkseid. Your fight is with me. My fight is with limitation, Darkseid corrected. You could have been a god, Kal-El. Instead, you pretend to be human, farming and writing articles, wasting Kryptonian heritage on sentiment. He gestured at Martha and Jonathan. These anchors keep you weak. The anti-life equation would free you from such crippling attachment. They keep me human, Superman said quietly. That's not weakness. It's strength you'll never understand. Goku studied the Omega collars, Kai's sense probing their structure. The devices pulsed with energy similar to the beams Darkseid's eyes produced, condensed, programmable, and linked directly to the new god's will. One thought from Darkseid would detonate them, vaporizing the Kents instantly. Here's my offer, Darkseid announced. Fight me, Saiyan. One-on-one combat. If you defeat me in single combat, I release the humans and withdraw from Earth for one solar cycle. If I defeat you, his smile widened. You serve apocalypse. Your strength turned to conquest. Your battle joy, weaponized for my empire. And Earth watches its newest hero become my hound. And if I refuse? Goku already knew the answer. The collars detonate, Superman's parents die, and I invade Earth with full force. Not testing probes, but total war. Billions dead to prove the futility of resistance. Darkseid's eyes glowed. You have 30 seconds to decide. Choose. Batman's voice crackled through comms, quiet and urgent. Goku, don't. This is psychological warfare. He's isolating you from support, forcing a scenario where you fight alone. Even if you win, he's gathered data on your combat patterns. If you lose, he gains a weapon. If I do nothing, innocent people die, Goku replied simply. He looked at Martha and Jonathan Kent, elderly, brave, standing straight despite terror because their son had taught them courage by example. Good people, the kind worth protecting. I accept, Goku called out. One-on-one. But when I win, you don't just leave for a year. You never threaten this Earth again. Darkseid laughed, the sound like continents grinding. Arrogance. Delightful. Very well, Saiyan. I agree to your terms. He gestured and the elite stepped back, forming an arena circle. Let us see if your strength matches your conviction. Superman grabbed Goku's arm. You don't have to do this. We fight him together. Can't risk it, Goku interrupted gently. Those collars go off if he loses focus or gets too hurt. One-on-one means he's concentrating on me, not killing your parents. He smiled and it was pure warrior confidence. Besides, I've been wanting to fight someone really strong since I got here. No holding back, no restraint, just pure combat. This is actually perfect. He's one of the most powerful beings in the universe, Superman said desperately. His Omega beams killed me once, killed all of us, ended the world. Then I'll just have to be stronger than the world, Goku replied. He stepped forward into the makeshift arena, rolling his shoulders. Hey, Darkseid, before we start, can I ask something? The Lord of Apocalypse tilted his head fractionally. Speak. If I beat you without transforming, just my base form, will you admit that ruling through fear is weaker than protecting through hope? Goku's grin was challenging. Because that's what Superman and his friends do. They're strong, but they use that strength to inspire, not terrify. I think that's way more impressive than conquering. Darkseid's expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. If you defeat me in base form, Scion, I will admit nothing, because you will not. I am Darkseid. I am tyranny. I am the inevitable conclusion of power. He took his own stance, massive frame radiating force that bent light around him. Come, show me this hope you value. Let me teach you why it always fails against sufficient might. Goku dropped into ready position, and his Kai flared white-blue around him, not transforming, not even close to full power, but enough to make the Kansas wheat bend away from pressure. Okay, but fair warning, I'm really good at proving people wrong when they underestimate hope. Around them, the League formed a defensive perimeter. Flash vibrated anxiously. Green Lantern created shields to protect the Kents. Wonder Woman gripped her sword, ready to intervene despite the terms. Batman calculated trajectories and contingencies, already planning for when, not if, Darkseid betrayed the agreement. And in Smallville's center, two beings who could each destroy planets began the fight that would determine Earth's fate. Darkseid moved first, and Goku's eyes widened. The new god was fast. Not Flash fast, but far faster than something that massive had any right to be. A fist the size of Goku's torso rocketed toward his face with the force of tectonic collision. Goku blocked with crossed forearms, and the impact cratered the ground beneath him, shock wave flattening the Kent farmhouse's fence. He slid back 50 feet, boots carving trenches through soil, arms tingling from the blow. Okay, Goku breathed, grinning wider. You're strong, like really strong. This is gonna be great. Darkseid's eyes glowed crimson. You smile. Even now, facing certain doom, you smile. I will enjoy breaking that expression. The Omega beams fired, twin lances of energy that tracked Goku's movements, bending through space to pursue their target. Goku dodged left, they curved left. Dodged right, they curved right. Faster, they accelerated. No escape through movement alone. So Goku stopped dodging and met them head-on, hands erupting with ki as he caught the Omega beams mid-flight and redirected them skyward. The energy screamed past him, frustrated of its target, detonating against low clouds and explosions that painted the sky crimson. Darkseid's expression shifted minutely, the first hint of genuine interest. You can touch Omega energy. Fascinating. Most beings simply cease when touched by the Omega effect. Erased, unmade. But you hold it like common fire. It's just energy, Goku replied, shaking his hands to disperse the residual Omega radiation. Weird energy, yeah. But everything's energy if you look at it right. He launched forward, closing the distance in a burst of speed that left after images. They collided at the arena's center, and Kansas felt the impact like an earthquake. The battle between Scion and New God transformed Kansas farmland into a crater-scarred wasteland within minutes. Each exchange of blows generated shock waves that Flash had to intercept and dissipate before they leveled Smallville. Green Lantern's constructs worked overtime containing collateral damage, Buildings reinforced with hard light scaffolding, fires extinguished with emerald foam, civilians sheltered behind barriers that creaked under the pressure of nearby combat. Goku fought with pure martial artistry, every technique honed across decades flowing together seamlessly. The Turtle School's foundations, the Crane School's precision, King Kai's cosmic awareness. Each strike targeted Darkseid's structural weaknesses, joints, pressure points, balance disruptions. But the Lord of Apocalypse was ancient, had fought since before Earth's sun ignited, and his combat experience turned every attack into teaching moment. You rely on speed, Darkseid observed, catching Goku's fist and using the Saiyan's momentum to hurl him through 3 grain silos. Predictable, he teleported via boom tube, appearing where Goku would land and driving a knee into the Saiyan's ribs. Bones cracked. Your strength is formidable but undisciplined. Another strike, this one calculated to rupture organs. And your technique, while refined, assumes opponents who feel pain. Goku coughed blood, Saiyan healing already knitting broken ribs, and grinned through crimson teeth. You're right, I do assume that. He grabbed Darkseid's extended leg and swung the new god like a hammer, slamming him into the ground hard enough to create a shock wave that registered on seismographs in California. But you know what? Even gods feel impact. He followed up with a Kamehameha at point-blank range, blue-white ki energy that would have vaporized planets engulfing Darkseid in its fury. The beam carved a canyon through Kansas soil, superheated rock to glass, and when it cleared, Darkseid stood in the crater's center, armor scorched but body intact. Adequate, Darkseid said, brushing slag from his shoulder. You can harm me, more than most, but harm is not victory. His eyes blazed and Omega beams fired again, not at Goku, but at the ground beneath him, erupting in a pattern that boxed the Saiyan in Omega fire from 6 directions simultaneously. Goku's aura exploded outward, ki deflecting the beams, but the effort cost him. Energy reserves dipped. Breathing grew heavier. He was strong, yes, but Darkseid was fighting like someone who'd waged war across millennia. Each movement economical, each attack forcing Goku to expend more energy defending than Darkseid spent attacking. On the sidelines, Batman's analysis scrolled across his cowl's display. Darkseid's using attrition tactics, forcing Goku to burn energy while he remains conservative. At current rate, Goku exhausts in 17 minutes. Can we intervene? Wonder Woman's hand was white-knuckled on her sword hilt, watching the Saiyan take punishment that would kill lesser beings. The Omega collars, Superman said through gritted teeth, heat vision flickering at his eyes as he watched his parents stand brave and terrified. The moment we interfere, Darkseid detonates them. We're locked out. Cyborg systems hummed, analyzing the collar's structure. I might be able to hack them, but I need 3 minutes of sustained connection. And if Darkseid notices before I'm done, they die, Batman finished. So we wait, watch, and prepare to move. The instant terms are violated. In the arena, Goku realized the same mathematics Batman had calculated. Base form wasn't enough. Darkseid was too durable, too experienced, too willing to fight dirty. The new god used boom tubes to strike from unexpected angles, Omega beams to create kill zones, and raw strength that matched Goku's own. This wasn't like fighting Frieza, a tyrant who let pride make him sloppy. This was fighting someone who treated combat as chess. You're holding back, Darkseid observed, blocking a flurry of strikes that would have shattered mountains. The golden transformation, the god power my sensors detected. You refuse to use it. He caught Goku's punch and twisted, dislocating the Saiyan's shoulder before Goku could counter. Pride or stupidity? Neither, Goku gasped, popping his shoulder back into place with a sickening crack. Just wanted to see if I could win without it. He wiped blood from his mouth. Guess I can't. You're too good. Finally, wisdom. Darkseid's smile was terrible. Show me this Super Saiyan power. Fight with your full strength or die with your limitations. Goku took a deep breath, centered himself, and let the transformation build. Golden aura erupted around him like sunrise, hair spiking and shifting from black to radiant blonde, eyes from dark to teal. Power multiplied 50-fold. Muscles didn't bulk, but density increased. Speed became supersonic. Ki reserves flooded through Saiyan biology awaken. Super Saiyan, the legend made flesh. The transformation's shockwave flattened remaining structures in a quarter-mile radius. Martha Kent grabbed her husband's hand, both watching in awe and terror as the cheerful young man who'd smiled at them earlier became something divine and dangerous. The League braced against the pressure. Even Superman felt it. Raw power that rivaled his own in intensity, if not nature. There, Goku said, voice carrying harmonic resonance from transformed vocal cords. Now we can really fight. He vanished. Darkseid's head snapped left, right, tracking movement too fast for normal perception. Goku appeared behind him, fist driving into the new god's spine with enough force to create a sonic boom. Darkseid stumbled forward. First time he'd been moved against his will all battle. Goku pressed the advantage, appearing in front, above, beside, striking from angles that blurred together into a golden storm of violence. Each hit now carried real damage. Darkseid's stone-like skin cracked under the assault. His armor, forged in Apocalypse's fires, shattered in pieces. For the first time in eons, the Lord of Apocalypse felt something approaching concern. Yes, Darkseid roared, and it was exultation rather than pain. This is what I sought. True power unleashed. He caught one of Goku's punches despite the speed, Omega energy flooding his fist as he drove it into Goku's gut. The Saiyan convulsed, Omega radiation trying to erase him from existence. But Super Saiyan Ki burned too bright to be easily unmarred. They separated, both breathing heavily now. Darkseid's armor was ruined, his stone flesh cracked and bleeding something that wasn't quite blood. Goku's gi was shredded, bruises covering his torso, one eye swelling shut. But both were grinning, Darkseid with satisfaction of worthy combat, Goku with pure battle joy. You are magnificent, Darkseid admitted. In another universe, another circumstance, I would have offered you partnership rather than servitude. We could have conquered galaxies together. Hard pass, Goku replied, settling into stance again. Conquering's boring, protecting's way more fun. He charged Ki for another Kamehameha, this one at Super Saiyan levels. And I'm about to protect this Earth by putting you down. The beam erupted, not blue-white but golden, carrying 50 times the power of his previous attack. It engulfed Darkseid completely, a pillar of destruction that carved through earth and stone, vaporizing everything in its path for 3 miles. When it cleared, a canyon existed where farmland had been, and at its base, Darkseid knelt. The new god was injured, truly injured, armor gone, flesh smoking, one knee bent in genuflexion for the first time since his ascension to godhood. But his eyes still glowed. His will remained unbroken. Impressive, Darkseid growled, rising slowly. You have earned my respect, Saiyan. Few can claim such. He raised his hand, and for a moment, Goku thought victory was achieved. Then Darkseid's fingers moved in a complex pattern, and reality shifted. The Omega collars at the Kent's throats pulsed crimson. But respect and mercy are different concepts, Darkseid finished. I agreed to release them if you defeated me. You have not. Therefore, the collars began their detonation sequence, Omega energy building toward critical mass. No! Superman screamed, rocketing toward his parents, but he was too far, too slow, Omega radiation already cascading. Goku moved on pure instinct. Instant transmission, still unreliable, still fighting this universe's physics, but fueled now by Super Saiyan power and desperate need. He appeared between the Kents, hands erupting with ki as he grabbed both Omega collars and pulled, ripping them free with strength that tore metal like paper. The devices detonated in his hands, Omega energy designed to erase existence flooding through Saiyan palms. Pain unlike anything Goku had experienced seared through his body. This wasn't physical damage. This was conceptual erasure, reality itself trying to delete him from existence. His ki fought back, life force clashing with death energy in a struggle that happened on quantum levels. For 3 eternal seconds, Goku existed in superposition between being and unbeing. Then his Kai won, barely. The Omega energy dissipated. Goku collapsed to his knees, hands smoking and nerveless, and the Kents were safe. Goku! Martha Kent was at his side immediately, farmer's practicality overcoming fear as she supported his weight. You're hurt. I'm okay, Goku lied, vision swimming. The Omega energy had done something to his key network, disrupted the flow, poisoned the well. Super Saiyan flickered, unstable. Just need a minute. Darkseid observed this with calculation. The Saiyan had sacrificed tactical advantage to save hostages, predictable heroism, but in doing so, he'd absorbed Omega energy directly and survived, which was unprecedented. Fascinating. The data alone made this exercise worthwhile. You chose them over victory, Darkseid said, tone almost conversational. Given the chance to finish me while I was weakened, you instead saved two elderly humans. He tilted his head. Why? Because they matter, Goku said simply. Super Saiyan form guttering out, hair fading back to black as energy reserves crashed. Your stupid test, your battles, your conquest, none of that matters more than two people's lives. Sentiment, Darkseid concluded, your greatest weakness. My greatest strength, Goku corrected, struggling to stand. Martha and Jonathan supported him from either side, elderly humans holding up an alien warrior who'd saved them. Because I've got something to fight for beyond just getting stronger. That makes all the difference. Darkseid considered this. Ancient mind processing the concept like a virus it couldn't quite quarantine. Then he smiled, and it was genuine amusement. Perhaps we shall test that hypothesis another day. He gestured, and boom tubes opened around him and his elite. Our agreement stands, Saiyan. You did not defeat me, but your sacrifice has entertained me. I withdraw from Earth for one solar cycle, as promised. Wait, Batman's voice cut across the battlefield. You said if he defeated you, he clearly won. He survived me, Darkseid corrected. Different outcome, but I am not without honor, Detective. The Saiyan demonstrated something rare. Power used for protection rather than glory. I will respect that. Once. His eyes found Goku's. But know this, warrior. I have measured you, studied your limits, cataloged your weaknesses. When I return, I will not test, I will take, and no amount of heroic sacrifice will save you from the anti-life equation's certainty. The boom tubes collapsed, taking apocalypse forces with them, leaving only scarred Kansas farmland and a league of heroes frozen between relief and fury. Superman caught his mother as she stumbled, decades of farm wife strength finally giving out under stress. Mom, Dad, are you? We're fine, Clark, Jonathan said firmly, though his hands trembled. Thanks to your friend here. He looked at Goku, who was still standing mostly through stubbornness. Son, I don't know what you are or where you're from, but you saved our lives when you didn't have to. That makes you family in my book. Goku managed a weak smile. Just doing what's right, sir. Then his legs gave out completely, and Superman caught him before he hit the ground. The Kryptonian's X-ray vision showed the damage. Ki channels burned and frayed, energy reserves at critical lows, cellular structure damaged by Omega radiation in ways that Kryptonian biology didn't experience, but clearly wasn't healthy. Get him to the Watchtower medbay, Batman ordered. Cyborg full analysis. John, telepathic monitoring in case of Omega affects psychological contamination. Diana, coordinate with local authorities on cleanup. His voice was clipped, efficient, hiding whatever emotions ran beneath. And someone figure out how to explain a canyon the size of Delaware to the media. As they teleported away, leaving Flash and Green Lantern to handle the immediate aftermath, Superman carried Goku's unconscious form and thought about what he'd witnessed. The Saiyan had been winning, genuinely winning, and chose to save two lives instead of securing victory. Had absorbed reality-erasing energy to protect strangers' parents. Had demonstrated exactly the heroism Superman valued while possessing exactly the power Superman feared. In the Watchtower's medbay, as Cyborg scanners hummed over Goku's Omega-burned hands and Wonder Woman cleaned wounds with Amazonian medicine, Batman stood in the corner reviewing battle footage. The detective saw what others might miss. Goku had still been holding back. Even in Super Saiyan form, even pushed to his limits, the Saiyan hadn't used techniques Jones' telepathy had revealed. Higher transformations, fusion possibilities, combat abilities that made what they'd witnessed look like warm-up, which meant Darkseid had measured only a fraction of Goku's true power. And Darkseid knew it. The war for Goku's allegiance had just begun, and Earth stood in the crossfire. Goku woke to white ceiling panels and the hum of alien technology. The Watchtower's med bay smelled like ozone and antiseptic, cleaner than Bulma's lab, more sterile than Korin's tower. His hands were wrapped in bandages that glowed faintly with some kind of healing energy, and every muscle in his body ached with the pleasant soreness that came from a truly challenging fight. "You're awake," Superman said from beside the bed. The Kryptonian looked exhausted despite his invulnerability. Emotional fatigue written across features, usually projecting confidence. "You've been unconscious for 18 hours. Cyborg says the Omega radiation damaged your KI channels. Whatever those are. Will you recover?" "Yeah," Goku said, flexing his fingers experimentally. The pain was manageable, healing already progressing at Saiyan rates. "Might take a few days, but I'll be fine. Saiyans bounce back fast, especially after tough fights." He sat up, ignoring Superman's attempt to keep him lying down. "Your parents, are they okay?" "Thanks to you, yes. Mom's making enough food to feed an army because that's how she processes trauma. Dad's rebuilding the fence and pretending his hands aren't shaking." Superman's voice cracked slightly. "Goku, you saved them. You were winning against Darkseid, and you chose to save two people instead of finishing the fight. I don't know how to thank you for that." "Don't need thanks," Goku replied, grinning despite the pain. "They're good people, and they raised you, right? That means they're important to the whole world, not just to you." He paused, expression growing more serious. "But I messed up, didn't I? Darkseid got away, got all his data on how I fight. Batman's probably mad." "Batman's complicated," Superman said diplomatically. "Come on. The League wants to debrief once you're mobile. And," he hesitated, "there's something you should see." Superman helped Goku to the conference room, unnecessary assistance given Saiyan resilience. But the Kryptonians seemed to need the contact, reassurance that Goku was real and alive. The League assembled around the table, but the atmosphere felt different, warmer, less assessing. Wonder Woman stood first, approaching Goku with her lasso coiled at her hip. "Warrior, you have proven your heart beyond doubt. In the heat of battle, when victory was within grasp, you chose compassion over conquest." She placed a hand on his shoulder with genuine respect. "The Amazons would be honored to call you brother in arms." Flash vibrated forward, grin splitting his face. "Dude, you grabbed Omega beams with your bare hands and redirected them. That was the most metal thing I've ever seen, and I once saw Batman punch Darkseid in the face with a Radion-powered gauntlet." "The ocean recognizes those who protect family," Aquaman said, trident resting against his shoulder. "Your actions honor Atlantean values. You have our support, Saiyan." Even Green Lantern offered a respectful nod. "Takes serious willpower to tank Omega energy like that. My ring's impressed, which is saying something." Only Batman remained silent, cowled face unreadable as always. Goku looked around, slightly overwhelmed. "I just did what felt right. Where I'm from, you don't let people die when you can save them, no matter what else is happening. That philosophy nearly got you killed," Batman said finally, stepping forward. Holographic displays activated, showing tactical analysis of the Smallville battle. "Darkseid baited you perfectly, created a scenario where your heroic instincts would override strategic thinking. You fell for it." "Bruce," Superman warned. "No, let him finish," Goku interrupted. "He's got a point." Batman continued, pulling up footage of the moment Goku abandoned his winning position to save the Kents. "This moment, right here, you had Darkseid on the defensive, injured, distracted. A finishing Kamehameha would have ended it. Instead, you teleported to the hostages, absorbed Omega energy, and lost your tactical advantage." The detective's voice was harsh. "Darkseid planned for exactly that response. He knows now that threatening innocence will always make you abandon optimal strategy." "Yeah," Goku admitted. "That's true, he can use that against me." He met Batman's shadowed glare. "But I'd make the same choice every time. Because if I become the kind of person who calculates whether two lives are worth losing a fight, I stopped being worth anything myself. Noble sentiment, Batman said, gets people killed. So does being too afraid to act, Goku countered. Look, I get it. Your universe is different from mine. You guys have seen heroes turn bad, power corrupt people, good intentions lead to tyranny. But where I'm from, we've seen the opposite problem too. People so scared of doing the wrong thing that they don't do anything, and evil wins by default. He stood, wobbling slightly as his key channels protested, but standing nonetheless. Darkseid got data on me. Fine, but I got data on him too. I know his limits now, how he fights, what his Omega beams can and can't do. Next time we meet, and yeah, there'll be a next time, I'll be ready, his grin returned. And stronger. Scions get better every time we fight. That's what we do. There may not be a next time, Cyborg interjected, pulling up new data streams. At least not immediately. Our deep space sensors show Apocalypse has withdrawn to its home dimension. Darkseid's keeping his word about the one-year ceasefire. He looked troubled. But the signal traffic between Apocalypse and other hostile civilizations has increased exponentially. He's sharing information, probably about you, Goku. Great, Goku said cheerfully. More strong opponents to fight. More enemies studying your weaknesses, Batman corrected. By the time Darkseid returns, he'll have counters for every technique you showed. Possibly allies specifically recruited to exploit your limitations. He pulled up profiles. Mongol, the weaponized World War world. Brainiac's backup bodies scattered across galaxies. The Reach's scarabs. Trigon's demonic armies. You've made yourself a target for every cosmic threat that answers to or trades with Apocalypse. Goku absorbed this, understanding dawning. In his universe, villains usually worked alone or in small groups. Frieza's army, Cell's isolated perfection. Boo's chaotic destruction. But this universe operated differently. Villains networked, shared intelligence, coordinated strategies across galaxies. His fight with Darkseid had essentially announced his presence to a universe full of threats who now knew exactly what to prepare for. Okay, he said slowly. That's more complicated than I'm used to. So what do? We prepare, Wonder Woman said. Train you in our methods while you teach us yours. When Darkseid returns, he faces not just a Scion, but a Scion who fights with League coordination. We also need to address the elephant in the room, Superman added. Goku, you're stuck in our universe until we figure out how to get you home. That could take months, years even, which means you need to decide, are you just visiting, or are you joining Earth's defense officially? The question hung in the air. Jonjon's telepathic presence touched Goku's mind gently. The choice is yours, warrior. But know that this world needs what you represent, hope without cynicism, strength without corruption. You remind us why we fight. Goku thought about his Earth, his friends and family waiting for him, Gohan and Goten, Chi-Chi's cooking, training with Vegeta, Piccolo's gruff mentorship, Bulma's genius. All of it felt impossibly distant, separated by dimensional barriers that even instant transmission couldn't breach. But he also thought about this Earth. Superman's unwavering goodness, despite a universe that punished it. Batman's determination to protect, despite having no powers. Wonder Woman's warrior wisdom. Flash's infectious optimism. A whole league of heroes fighting not for glory, but because someone had to stand between the innocent and the darkness. They needed him, not because they were weak. They were stronger than most warriors he'd fought, but because they were tired, worn down by endless crisis events, by the constant possibility of corruption, by the burden of godlike power in a universe that seemed designed to make them fall. Maybe he could help, not by being the strongest, though he'd keep training for that, but by reminding them what it looked like to fight with joy instead of fear. I'll stay, Goku decided. Until we find a way home, I'll help protect this Earth. But I'm not great at the whole team coordination thing. Where I'm from, strategies usually amount to hit it really hard until it stops moving. Flash laughed. Dude, that's basically my strategy too. We're going to get along great. Then it's settled, Superman said, relief evident in his voice. Welcome to the Justice League, Goku. Provisional membership until we formalize it with the UN, and alarms shrieked through the watchtower. Red lights bathed the conference room. Cyborg systems went haywire, data streams flooding his visual processors faster than he could parse them. "What now?" Batman demanded, already moving toward tactical stations. "Multiple boom tube signatures opening worldwide," Cyborg reported, voice strained. "But they're not apocalypse tech. These are different, cleaner, more advanced." His eye widened. Oh no, it's the Reach, the alien empire that nearly conquered Earth before. They're invading now, and according to intercepted communications, they specifically want the Scion, Batman finished grimly. Darkseid sold us out, told them about Goku to create a distraction while Apocalypse regroups. Goku cracked his knuckles, Kai already starting to flow despite his injuries. "How many ships?" 73 war cruisers in low orbit, Green Lantern reported, Ring feeding him data from OA's sensors. Each one carrying approximately 10,000 Reach warriors and a dozen Scarab infiltrators. They're deploying simultaneously across every major population center. That's over 700,000 hostile combatants, Wonder Woman calculated. Even with the League, we can't be everywhere at once. "No," Superman agreed, "but we can coordinate. Batman, deployment patterns. Cyborg, hack their communications. John, telepathic network between all active heroes. We need every cape on Earth for this." He turned to Goku. "You're injured and your KI channels are damaged. You should sit this out." Goku was already heading toward the teleportation bay. "Not a chance. I might not be at full strength, but I can still fight. And hey," he grinned over his shoulder, "this is exactly what I'm good at. Protecting people when impossible odds show up." "He fights," Wonder Woman declared, falling in beside him. "A warrior does not abandon battle because of injury. We simply fight smarter." Batman pulled up global deployment maps. "Fine, but Goku, you're with Superman. Someone needs to keep you from making heroic sacrifices we can't afford." He began assigning positions with rapid-fire precision. "Diana, you've got New York with Aquaman. Flash, evacuations in Los Angeles with Green Lantern providing air support. Cyborg, coordinate from here. John, telepathic relay in Washington, D.C. defense." As the League mobilized, Goku felt something shift inside him. This was different from fighting in tournaments or facing villains who showed up to challenge him personally. This was war. Coordinated, strategic, overwhelming force designed to conquer rather than test. The Reach didn't want a worthy battle. They wanted Earth's subjugation and Goku's capture. For the first time since arriving in this universe, Goku understood why these heroes looked so tired. They didn't fight occasionally when threats emerged. They fought constantly against an endless tide of enemies who learned from every defeat and came back stronger, smarter, more prepared. It never ended. There was no victory, only the next battle. No rest, only brief pauses between catastrophes. And yet they kept fighting. Not because they enjoyed it, not because they sought stronger opponents, but because someone had to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. "Superman," Goku said as they prepared to teleport, "I get it now. Why you hold back. Why Batman plans to stop you if you go bad. Why Wonder Woman teaches restraint." He looked at the Kryptonian seriously. "This universe doesn't need the strongest fighter. It needs heroes who won't break, who'll keep standing no matter how tired they get. That's way harder than just being powerful." Superman smiled, tired but genuine. "Welcome to the Justice League, Goku, where the real battle isn't against villains. It's against the despair of thinking it's all pointless." He placed a hand on Goku's shoulder. "Ready to save the world? Again?" "Always," Goku replied, and meant it with every fiber of his Scion heart. They teleported into war, and Earth's newest defender learned what it truly meant to be a hero in a universe where hope was a choice made every day against overwhelming evidence that choosing otherwise would be easier. The Reach invasion hit Earth like a scalpel rather than a hammer. Surgical strikes targeting infrastructure, communications, and power grids, while Scarab-enhanced infiltrators slipped through the chaos to hunt one specific target. Goku materialized beside Superman above Metropolis, just as a war cruiser's tractor beam attempted to lift LexCorp Tower wholesale into its cargo bay. "Can't let them take that," Superman said, heat vision already carving through the beam's focal point. Luthor's tech falling into Reach hands would be catastrophic. Goku nodded, studying the cruiser with Kai sense. Thousands of life signatures aboard, most humanoid but wrong, genetically modified, enhanced, built for war rather than born into it. And something else, metallic yet alive, scattered throughout the ship in clusters of 12. The scarabs Cyborg had mentioned. "I'll handle the ship," Goku offered. "You get people to safety?" "Alone, that cruiser has enough firepower to—" Superman stopped, reassessing. The Saiyan had fought Darkseid to near victory and survived Omega Energy. A single war cruiser, while dangerous, wasn't beyond his capabilities. "Fine, but non-lethal if possible. The Reach soldiers are conscripts, not volunteers. Slaves to their own empire." "Got it. Knock 'em out. Don't kill 'em." Goku rocketed upward, golden aura igniting as he transformed to Super Saiyan despite his injuries. The power surged unevenly through damaged ki channels, pain lancing through his core. But he gritted his teeth and pushed through. The ship's weapon systems tracked his approach, particle cannons swiveling to target. He dodged the first barrage through pure speed, weaving between energy blasts that would have atomized lesser beings. The second wave he simply tanked, letting the attacks splash against Super Saiyan aura while he closed distance. His fist connected with the cruiser's hull, and the entire vessel rang like a struck bell, internal systems scrambling as the impact propagated through its structure. Inside, Reach commanders barked orders in clicking insectoid language. Scarab warriors deployed, 12 figures in blue and black bioarmor that shifted and morphed in response to threats. They burst from the hull to meet Goku in open air, weapons forming from living metal, energy cannons, bladed appendages, adaptive shields. "Target confirmed," the lead Scarab announced, voice mechanical and cold. "Scion physiology detected. Power level, extreme. Initiating capture protocols." They attacked in perfect coordination, each Scarab covering another's weakness, weapons calibrated from Darkseid's shared data to exploit Goku's documented patterns. Energy nets designed to disrupt ki flow. Sonic weapons that targeted Scion, enhanced hearing. Blades coated in compounds that inhibited cellular regeneration. Goku fought 12 opponents simultaneously and discovered something humbling. He was struggling. Not because they were individually stronger, he could have demolished any single Scarab easily, but because they fought with machine precision, adapting to his movements in real time, learning from every exchange. When he dodged left, they were already firing right. When he powered up for a Kamehama, they deployed energy-absorbing shields. When he tried instant transmission, they scattered before he could capitalize on surprise. This was what Batman had warned about. Enemies who studied, prepared, and countered rather than just matching strength with strength. A Scarab blade slipped through his defense, scoring across his ribs. Pain flared, not deep enough to seriously injure, but the message was clear. They could hurt him. Given enough time, enough data, they could potentially capture him. So Goku stopped fighting their way and started fighting his. He dropped out of Super Saiyan entirely, power signature vanishing as he went base form. The Scarabs paused momentarily, recalibrating, assuming power depletion or surrender. In that half-second of confusion, Goku used Solar Flare, a technique he'd learned from Tien decades ago, rarely used but devastatingly effective. Blinding light erupted from his body, overwhelming the Scarab's optical sensors, and in their moment of blindness, Goku moved with pure martial arts. No Kai blasts, no energy techniques, just speed, precision, and decades of Master Roshi's training. He struck pressure points with surgical accuracy, joints, nerve clusters, weak points in bioarmor that his combat instincts identified. The Scarabs were technology, which meant they had structural vulnerabilities. Exploit the seams, disrupt the power flow, disable rather than destroy. Within 30 seconds, all 12 Scarab warriors floated unconscious in Metropolis airspace, their bioarmor locked in stasis as Goku's strikes had disrupted their neural interfaces. "Huh," Goku muttered, catching his breath. "Guess sometimes fancy powers aren't the answer." He gathered the scarabs with telekinetic key manipulation, another technique he rarely used, and deposited them on the cruiser's hull. Then, transforming back to Super Saiyan, he grabbed the entire ship and began pushing it out of Earth's atmosphere through sheer strength and determination. The cruiser's engines screamed, trying to resist. Internal weapons fired, energy blasts scorching Goku's back, but he ignored the pain and kept pushing, higher, past the thermosphere. Into the cold vacuum of space where battles wouldn't endanger civilians below. Through John's telepathic network, Batman's voice crackled. "Goku, status?" "Got one ship handled," Goku replied, forcing the cruiser into a stable orbit where it couldn't immediately threaten Earth. "Disabled the scarabs, ships neutralized. Where do you need me next?" "Paris. Wonder Woman's pinned down by 3 cruisers and needs support." Batman's voice carried grudging respect. "And Goku? Good work using the solar flare. Adapting technique to opposition rather than just overwhelming them with power. You're learning." Across the globe, the Justice League fought with coordinated precision that Goku was only beginning to appreciate. Flash evacuated entire cities ahead of reach deployment zones, moving millions to safety at speeds that broke causality. Green Lantern created orbital constructs that herded cruisers away from population centers while simultaneously shielding civilians from collateral damage. Aquaman summoned tsunamis that capsized landing craft while carefully avoiding coastal cities. Wonder Woman fought like war incarnate in the skies over Paris, her god-killer sword carving through reach technology as she deflected attacks that would have leveled the Eiffel Tower. But 3 cruisers focusing fire had pushed even her to defensive positioning. Goku arrived in a burst of instant transmission, appearing beside her mid-battle. "Need a hand?" Diana's smile was fierce and grateful. "I need a warrior. Can you draw their fire while I close for killing strikes?" "On it!" Goku charged the nearest cruiser, Super Saiyan aura blazing bright enough to paint Paris gold. The reach weapons tracked him immediately, exactly as planned. He wove through their firing patterns, leading them away from Diana's position, giving the Amazon princess the opening she needed. Wonder Woman moved like divine retribution, closing the distance to the first cruiser faster than its defensive systems could track. Her sword punched through its hull, then carved a line through critical systems with Amazonian precision. The ship listed, emergency protocols engaging, life support maintaining but offensive capabilities destroyed. The second cruiser attempted to flee. Goku instant transmitted ahead of it, palms erupting with Kamehameha energy. "Going somewhere?" The beam didn't destroy. Instead, following Superman's lesson about proportionate response, he targeted engines specifically. The cruiser went dead in space, floating harmlessly while emergency beacons activated. The third cruiser, recognizing the threat, activated its trump card, a gravity well generator designed to pin opponents in place through localized space-time distortion. Goku felt reality compress around him, movement becoming impossible, key techniques disrupted by gravitational interference. He was trapped, a sitting target for the cruiser's main cannon, charging for execution shot. Diana threw her lasso. The golden rope, forged by Hephaestus himself, infused with truth and binding beyond mere physics, wrapped around the gravity well generator and crushed it through sheer divine will. The distortion collapsed. Goku dropped free, and together, he and Wonder Woman struck the third cruiser simultaneously from opposite sides. The ship folded like tin foil, crew compartments protected by emergency bulkheads but combat capability completely eliminated. 3 cruisers neutralized in under 4 minutes. Paris saved. "Your timing is impeccable, Saiyan," Diana said, breathing heavily but grinning. "Together we are formidable." "You're pretty amazing yourself," Goku replied. Through the telepathic link, "Batman, Paris is clear. Where next?" "Tokyo. Cyborg's trying to hack their planetary command ship, but he needs 5 minutes of protection. Get there. Now!" Goku grabbed Diana's hand. She didn't flinch at the presumption, and instant transmitted them both to Tokyo's skyline. The city sprawled beneath them in neon brilliance, except for the massive shadow cast by the Reach command ship hovering over downtown. This vessel dwarfed the war cruisers, a flying fortress the size of Manhattan, bristling with weapons and swarming with hundreds of scarab warriors. At its base, standing on a skyscraper rooftop with cables jacked directly into reach systems, Cyborg fought a digital war while his body stood vulnerable. Scarabs descended toward him like a swarm of mechanical locusts. "No, you don't," Goku growled, intercepting the first wave with a barrage of Kai blasts that scattered them like leaves. Wonder Woman landed beside Cyborg, forming a defensive perimeter, sword ready. The battle that followed was chaos incarnate. Scarabs attacked in waves, learning from each engagement, adapting strategies with machine efficiency. Goku fought with everything he had: martial arts, key techniques, transformations flickering on and off as his damaged channels struggled to maintain Super Saiyan form. Diana covered his weaknesses, her warrior experience reading the battle's flow, intercepting attacks Goku didn't see coming, creating openings he could exploit. Through the telepathic network, Goku heard the League's coordinated symphony, Superman destroying 3 cruisers simultaneously while preventing a single casualty. Flash vibrating an entire invasion force out of phase with reality. Green Lantern creating a construct cage around 20 cruisers at once. Aquaman commanding sea creatures to disable underwater landing zones. Martian Manhunter's telepathy, turning Reach soldiers against each other through carefully constructed illusions. They weren't just fighting, they were conducting a defensive masterpiece, each hero perfectly positioned, every action supporting the whole. It was beautiful in a way that pure strength never achieved. 30 seconds, Cyborg announced, voice strained as digital warfare raged in cyberspace. Almost through their encryption, a scarab got past Goku's defense, blade aimed at Cyborg's exposed spine. Wonder Woman intercepted it, but 2 more slipped through her guard. Goku moved on pure instinct, not instant transmission, not key blasts, but the raw speed of someone who'd spent his entire life protecting others. He caught both scarabs mid-strike, crushed their weapons, and hurled them into their companions with enough force to tangle the entire formation. 10 seconds! The command ship's main cannon swiveled toward Cyborg, charge building for a blast that would vaporize the entire skyscraper. Goku looked at Diana, saw the same calculation in her eyes. They couldn't dodge and protect Cyborg, couldn't destroy the cannon before it fired. Only one option remained. They placed themselves between Cyborg and oblivion. The cannon fired. Energy that could crack planets concentrated into a beam 3 meters wide, designed to penetrate any defense, obliterate any obstacle. It struck Goku and Wonder Woman simultaneously, and they held their ground through pure, defiant will. Goku's ki and Diana's divine blessing merged in the space between them, creating a shield of combined power that shouldn't exist but did, because 2 warriors refused to let their teammate die. The beam lasted 5 eternal seconds. When it ended, Goku and Diana knelt on shattered rooftop, armor and GI smoking, but alive, unbowed. "Done!" Cyborg shouted triumphantly, disconnecting from Reach systems. "I've uploaded a virus into their command network. Every ship on Earth is receiving shutdown protocols in 3, 2, 1. Across the globe, 73 war cruisers and 1 command ship went dark simultaneously. Emergency systems maintained life support, but weapons, shields, and propulsion died. The invasion force floated helpless in Earth's orbit, prey for Green Lantern Corps members who arrived minutes later to take them into custody. The Reach invasion was over before it truly began, defeated not by overwhelming power, but by coordinated heroism and strategic brilliance. In the Watchtower, as the League regrouped, exhausted but victorious, Superman addressed them with quiet pride. 73 capital ships, over 700,000 hostile combatants, 0 civilian casualties, 0 destroyed cities. He looked at each hero in turn. This is what we do. This is why Earth survives when gods try to conquer it. Because we stand together. Goku, slumped in a chair with his GI in tatters and his ki channels screaming in protest, grinned through the pain. "You guys are incredible. That was the most coordinated battle I've ever seen. Everyone knowing exactly where to be, what to do. It was like watching a perfect technique." "It's what we've learned through necessity," Batman said, actually sounding almost approving. "Power wins battles. Strategy and teamwork win wars." He pulled up data on Goku's performance. You adapted well. Used techniques tactically rather than just throwing your strongest attacks. Protected teammates over pursuing personal victory. Demonstrated exactly the growth we hoped for. And you proved something else, Wonder Woman added, clasping Goku's shoulder gently. That joy and hope are not weakness. Your smile in battle, it lifted our spirits when exhaustion threatened. You reminded us why we fight. Flash vibrated excitedly. Plus, you totally grabbed a spaceship and threw it into orbit. That was sick. The ocean recognizes those who protect without seeking glory, Aquaman said formally. You have Atlantis' friendship, Scion. Joan's telepathic voice touched them all. The Reach will not return soon. They fear what they cannot predict, and Goku is exactly that. Unpredictable strength used for protection rather than conquest. Combined with the League's coordination, we have shown the universe that Earth is not easy prey. So we won, Goku said simply. For now. For now, Superman agreed. There will be other threats, other invasions, other battles where victory seems impossible. He looked at Goku with something like hope. But having you fight beside us, it makes the impossible feel achievable. Batman began the post-mission analysis, already identifying improvements for next time, already preparing for the threats he knew would come. But even the Dark Knight couldn't entirely suppress the satisfaction of a defense executed perfectly. On Apocalypse, Darkseid watched the Reach's defeat with philosophical interest. The Scion had integrated into the Justice League faster than projected. Learned their methods, adopted their restraint while maintaining his power. Became not just an ally but a symbol, proof that strength and goodness could coexist without corruption. Problematic, but also opportunity. The anti-life equation worked most efficiently on those who believed in hope. And Goku now hoped that this universe could be protected, that heroes could stand against darkness indefinitely, that his presence made a difference. When that hope shattered, and it would because Darkseid would ensure it, the Scion would finally understand the futility of resistance, would embrace anti-life's certainty, would become the perfect weapon, hope corrupted into despair, strength turned toward conquest, patience, observation, preparation. The Lord of Apocalypse smiled, and across the universe, prophecy shifted toward darker possibilities. But in the Watchtower, as the Justice League celebrated another impossible victory, Goku laughed with genuine joy. He'd found something in this universe, not just strong opponents to fight, but a purpose worth fighting for. Heroes who needed reminding that hope wasn't naive, that strength didn't have to corrupt, that the battle against darkness was worth fighting even when it never ended. He was still trapped in a foreign universe, still separated from his family and friends, still unsure if he'd ever return home. But for the first time since arriving, Goku didn't feel lost. He felt like he belonged. The weeks that followed the Reach invasion settled into something Goku had never experienced before. Routine heroism, not the desperate battles against universe-ending threats that defined his life back home, but the daily grind of protecting a world that needed defenders every single day. Bank robberies stopped alongside Flash. Arkham breakouts contained with the Bat family. Magical incursions sealed with Zatanna and Constantine. Atlantean border disputes mediated with Aquaman. Disasters both mundane and extraordinary. Each one teaching Goku more about what it meant to be a hero in a universe where the work never finished. He learned to pull his punches, to talk villains down when possible, to prioritize evacuation over victory, to work within teams rather than charging ahead alone. The Justice League's methods became second nature. Batman's strategic thinking, Superman's measured compassion, Wonder Woman's warrior wisdom, all filtering through Saiyan instincts to create something new, something better. But Darkseid's year of ceasefire ticked down with each passing day, and everyone knew the Lord of Apocalypse would return with strategies refined and weaknesses cataloged. The Reach had been merely a test. Darkseid's way of observing how Goku integrated with Earth's defenders, how the League adapted to having a Saiyan among them, what new vulnerabilities emerged from their cooperation. In the Watchtower's training dimension, Goku sparred with Superman under Earth's Yellow Sun simulation, both warriors finally cutting loose without fear of collateral damage. They moved at speeds that bent physics, traded blows that would shatter planets, and between exchanges, they talked. "You miss them," Superman observed, blocking a kick that created shockwaves across the dimensional pocket. "Your family, your Earth." "Every day," Goku admitted, deflecting heat vision with a key barrier. "Chi-Chi's probably furious I disappeared during training. Gohan's probably wondering if I'm okay. Vegeta's definitely calling me an idiot for getting lost." He grinned despite the melancholy. "But I'm learning things here I couldn't learn there. About restraint. About fighting for more than just the challenge. About what happens when you're strong enough to save everyone, but wise enough to know you can't." They broke apart, hovering in white void, both breathing heavily despite godlike endurance. "Cyborg thinks he's close to a breakthrough," Superman said. "The dimensional physics that brought you here, he believes he can reverse them using a combination of mother box technology, speed force manipulation, and your instant transmission as a navigational anchor. Maybe another month, maybe 3, but you'll get home, Goku." "And when I do?" Goku's expression turned serious. "Your universe will still need protecting. Darkseid will still come back. The next threat will emerge, and you'll face it like you always have, standing together even when you're exhausted." "That's the job," Superman replied simply. "But you've changed something, just by being here. Reminded us that hope isn't weakness, that enjoying the fight doesn't make you reckless. That power can be used joyfully without becoming corrupted." He smiled, and it was genuine warmth. "When you leave, you'll leave us better than you found us. That's heroism, too." From the observation deck, Batman watched the sparring session with his usual analytical intensity, but even he couldn't deny the positive impact Goku's presence had created. League morale was higher, coordination was sharper. The crushing weight of endless battles felt somehow lighter when one of their number approached each threat with a grin instead of grim determination. Wonder Woman joined him at the window. "You're thinking about contingencies for when he leaves." "I'm always thinking about contingencies," Batman replied. "But yes, Goku's integration created dependencies. Tactical patterns that rely on his speed, his power, his willingness to take hits others can't survive. When he returns to his universe, we'll have gaps that need filling. Or perhaps," Diana countered, "we'll simply adapt, as we always have. The Scion has taught us that adaptation doesn't require darkness. It can come from joy, from challenge embraced rather than endured." She placed a hand on Batman's shoulder. "Even you have smiled more these past weeks, Detective. Don't think I haven't noticed." Batman didn't respond, but he didn't deny it either. In the med bay, Goku's Kai channels had finally healed completely from the Omega radiation exposure, Scion biology and Watchtower technology working in concert to restore what Darkseid had damaged. Cyborg ran final scans, marveling at physiology that shouldn't function by any known science, but did anyway. "You're at 100%, Cyborg confirmed. "Better than when you arrived, actually. Your body adapted to our universe's physics. Your ki flows more efficiently here now than it did initially." "Zenkai boost," Goku explained. "Scions get stronger after recovering from near-death experiences. Darkseid's Omega energy nearly killed me, so my body compensated by evolving past that vulnerability." He flexed experimentally, feeling power surge through channels now reinforced and enhanced. "I'm probably twice as strong as when I first landed here. This universe's yellow sun helps too. Something about it supercharges Scion cells, similar to how it affects Superman. Which means when Darkseid returns, he's not facing the Scion he measured," Cyborg said with satisfaction. "He's facing an upgraded version. Poetic justice." The alarm interrupted them. Not the catastrophic invasion klaxons, but the standard alert for metahuman activity requiring League attention. Routine, almost comforting in its mundanity. Goku grinned, already heading for the teleportation bay. "What is it this time? Gorilla Grodd? Ocean Master? That Joker guy Batman's always talking about?" "Worse!" Flash's voice crackled through comms, vibrating with barely suppressed amusement. "Toy Man's roboting downtown Metropolis with giant action figures. It's ridiculous, and we absolutely need you here for moral support, if nothing else." And that was Goku's life now. Ridiculous alongside apocalyptic, mundane mixed with cosmic. Heroism measured in smiles saved as much as lives protected. He'd arrived in this universe lost and alone, a warrior seeking only his next challenge. He'd found something infinitely more valuable, purpose beyond power, friendship beyond rivalry, in the understanding that true strength meant standing up every day to protect those who couldn't protect themselves, even when the battles never ended and the victories were temporary. The dimensional portal home would open eventually. Cyborg's calculations promised it. But when Goku returned to his Earth, he'd carry lessons learned in DC's shadows and light. That hope was a choice requiring constant renewal. That power without wisdom was slavery to one's own strength. And that the greatest heroes weren't those who won every battle, but those who kept fighting even when winning seemed impossible. Somewhere on Apocalypse, Darkseid watched and waited, patient as entropy, confident as gravity. The Saiyan had grown stronger, yes. Had integrated with Earth's defenders, absolutely. Had demonstrated restraint and tactical thinking, certainly. But restraint could be broken. Integration created attachments. Tactical thinking required believing tactics mattered. And when Darkseid finally struck, not with armies or tests, but with the anti-life equation's absolute certainty, all of Goku's growth would become the very lever used to break him. The Lord of Apocalypse had all the time in the universe. Hope burned bright but brief. Despair was eternal. Or so he believed. What Darkseid couldn't account for, what no amount of calculation or observation could measure, was the simple, stubborn truth that Goku embodied, that some warriors fought not because they believed they would win, but because fighting was right, that some lights burned so purely they refused to be extinguished no matter how much darkness pressed against them. That hope, when wielded by the truly innocent, became a weapon no equation could solve. The year of ceasefire would end. Darkseid would return, and the DC universe would discover what happened when an unstoppable Saiyan warrior stood beside Earth's greatest heroes against the Lord of Apocalypse's ultimate gambit. But that was a story for another day. For now, in the eternal present that defined heroism, Goku teleported to Metropolis alongside the Justice League to fight giant action figures and save a city that had already started calling him their own. The orange-clad warrior who smiled in battle, the Saiyan who reminded gods they could still choose to be human, the hero who proved that, in a universe defined by darkness and corruption, joy and hope could still prevail. Not through naivety, not through ignorance, but through choice, renewed every day, to stand against the night and believe, truly believe, that dawn would come. And in the space between heartbeats, between battles, between the crushing weight of responsibility and the lightness of purpose found, Son Goku understood something profound. He wasn't lost in this universe anymore. He'd found exactly where he needed to be for exactly as long as he needed to be there. The multiverse was vast. The battles were endless. But heroes stood ready, and among them, a Saiyan warrior grinned at the impossible and called it opportunity.